Session 103 listeners, what is going on? Happy New Year. Happy birthday to H4441.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Off the bat. I was like, how am I going to begin this? We're going to begin this with the man that connected Peyton and I. I am one half of your co-host. My name is Matt. If this is your first time tuning into a Section 103 podcast, you've tuned into a great one because we are covering two incredible pay-per-views that went down recently. As always, I am joined by my incredible co-host, Peyton. What is going on in your world, my friend?
What's going on, everybody? Of course, I'm Peyton here on YouTube, Prince Aqua, whatever you want to go with. Of course, happy New Year, happy holidays. This is our first episode of 2026. Crazy shit right there.
Yes,
Crazy stuff right there. First episode of the new year. Of course, I hope you guys had a good one. Before we get into any wrestling, I gotta ask. We're gonna talk about us. How was your holiday? Let me know,
dude. So, I don't think it's a big shocker to our mutual friends and stuff that I'm pretty much like a health nut a lot of the times. Like I steer away from any candy, anything. December, man, I broke that rule. There's cookies on the counter. The cookies are in my hands. If there's sweets on the counter, they're in my hand. Something that I've continued not to do is drink, though. I haven't drank in like 2 months, and I'm not coming at it from I had like a bad drinking problem. I just found myself not drinking, and I was like, hell yeah, something to celebrate. But the holidays saw gold, or I should say pounds around my waist that are not gold, but they are happy moments with the friends and the family. And I have quite the haul to show from wrestling Christmas-related items. But before I go there, I'm going to throw that question right back to you. What happened in your holidays? How was it all?
For me, it was pretty good. I worked, unfortunately, pretty much all except for Christmas Day itself. But I don't have any wrestling things to show, unfortunately. This is kind of my gift here. I know. I had a lot of amiibo, shit ton of amiibo. That I can say for sure. Got Metroid Prime 4, probably play that a little bit today. That's about it for me, but I'm curious. You told me you had a surprise that you did not want to share.
I have 8 surprises.
It's okay.
I have. So number 1 is The Undertaker.
Oh, The Undertaker.
Number 2 is Drew McIntyre.
All right.
Number 3 is Rey Mysterio. And number 4 is the guy who can never get a good head scan to save his life, no matter if it's an action figure. It's Bret Hart.
Bret the Hitman Hart.
Bret Hart has, historically, has never had a good action figure face scan. Matt Cardona talks about it. Brian Myers talks about it. Like, no matter the company, nobody can ever get that good old Bret Hart. But I would say the thumb wrestler version, I could tell that's Bret Hart. That's all.
I could tell that's
all that. That's all that matters. What else? I have it all right beside me. Number 2, my mother knows that I'm a CM Punk diehard, so she visited her local Hot Topic and got a pretty fire CM Punk tee. That slight blur is really coming into effect right now. I'm so sorry, guys. All right. I didn't know which one I wanted to be the main event. You know what? I love my brother, but his is not going to be the main event. My brother and I exchanged a little bit of holiday gifts this year, as brothers do. And he graciously, from all the love in his heart, said, I found something for you, Matt. Merry Christmas.
Ooh, Ric Flair.
You can't. Ric Flair, it is the Chase 1 of 500 with that signature. You can't tell that's Ric Flair's face scan. He suffers from the Bret Hart problem. But yeah, it is the Luminaries Collection one that's in the same lineup as the Roderick Strong you have. I don't have the Mercedes Moné. I should have grabbed it. The Juice Robinson I don't have either. But yeah, thank you, Brandon. And for the main event, little bit of a story time. My beautiful girlfriend Danielle has a brother named Sean, otherwise known as Sean Cena. I didn't even come up with that one, but his name is Sean Cena. Sean Cena is about 7 or 8 years younger than me. Yeah, math is hard. And, typically, when you grow up with wrestling figures, you pass them down. Well, Sean Cena decided to passed them up. So now I am, I have no idea where I'm going to put this stuff, but he gave me all the wrestlers from when he was a kid, and there was something weird about receiving wrestling action figures, like getting handed up. But we got Mr. Wade Barrett. I got some bad news for you.
Nice.
We got Cock Jerker Miz with intense hand action. Yep, this podcast ain't gonna be fucking PG friendly. Who else we got? We got Damian Sandow in the white trunks. Dude, I told you I got like 8 surprises. We got Nipple Twister John Cena coming out of here.
Okay. About that.
Midway taking a poop. We got my favorite one out of all of them, Royal Rumble Sheamus. I love this Sheamus. I had this one as a kid, so welcome to the collection, Sheamus. And then for the main event of all main events, we have the tallest John Cena known to man. This John Cena is massive, man. Like, he's massive. And now you're wondering, all right, if John Cena wasn't the main event, who's the main event action figure? Let's try a Sin Cara as your main event. Dog.
The white and gold.
When I ain't recording the podcast, I know what I'll be playing with. So
little Sin Cara fidget. Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that at all. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty hilarious kind of like gag gift. Was like, I'm gonna give you my old wrestling figures. They'll probably never see the light of day except for maybe that Sheamus. But nonetheless, it was an incredible Christmas over here. As mentioned on the last in section 103 podcast, we were talking about how we were going to record the next show. And I thought that for this show, this might be our best one to date, but we say that every single time. But let me tell you why. Not only do we have an incredible week of wrestling with one result that you and I are very excited about, but we are covering 2 incredible shows, that being World's End and the most recent Stardom pay-per-view, which Peyton so graciously shared his login information so I could get a full Stardom show from front to back, which I was very happy to watch. But before we get there, my friend, what happened in this week in wrestling?
Yes, so with that, our lovely viewers here, I decided to give a fun little gift. I guess you could maybe say that. The thing is, right, we're covering 2 full pay-per-views today. Not even just one, we're doing 2. And these are 2025 pay-per-views. We know how long wrestling gets nowadays. So, the week in wrestling, I thought it'd be kind of fun for this edition here to challenge myself to cover everything that happened in the week of wrestling, not the pay-per-views, but just the main shows in 5 minutes or less. I have a timer here and my steps that I didn't hit. But we got us a timer here. So I am as curious to see if I can do this. And then of course at the end, we'll just kind of go over whatever, we're interested in. At the very least, we both are kind of lucky in that there's only really one thing we kind of care about this week, but, regardless, it might be a little fun. So if you're ready, I'll start this timer and we're going to get it going.
Timer starts now.
All right. Okay. 3. Oh shit! I can't even see my thing. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so Raw. Asuka defeated Rhea Ripley. Becky Lynch and Maxine had a promo which ended on Maxine being on top. I assume they're gonna have a rematch. Javon Evans was on the show. He defeated Rayo Americana, which I believe is Tyler Bate. I'm pretty sure. And Javon, I also believe, is officially called up to the main roster now, if I'm not mistaken. Stephanie Vaquer, Raquel Rodriguez, and Nikki Bella kind of had a little promo-ish fight standoff that set up a triple threat for the world title next week, which we'll cover obviously next week. Bayley defeated Roxanne Perez. Good stuff there. 2 of our favorites. CM Punk and Gunther had a little standoff. Of course, Gunther continuing his bullshit, antics. And then the main event saw Bronson Reed and Austin Theory, new member of the Vision, defeating Rey Mysterio and CM Punk. That was Raw. NXT, we had Lola Vice defeating Izzy Dame, and Tatum Paxley came out with a chainsaw attack, and that was kind of cool. Blake Monroe and Thea Hale set up a rematch for New Year's Evil. Tavion Heights defeated Eli Knight, not LA Knight, but Eli Knight, different guy, in a speed tournament match. Shiloh Hill and Skylar Ray defeated Stax and Ariana Grace in a little mixed tag team match there. Lexus King defeated Andre Chase in a speed tournament match, and then the main event saw Chelsea Green defeating Sol Ruka to retain her U.S. title. Dynamite, to make sure that I get this in less than 5 minutes. It was just a lot of setting up the Continental Classic, the finals and whatnot, and building towards World End. All you really need to know is Bandito defeated Ricochet to win the Dynamite Diamond Ring, and he's going to challenge for the world title at Maximum Carnage, which I want to say is in January, I believe. So that'll be the AEW world title, his first challenge. We'll cover that later. And then the final four of the Continental Classic going into World's End is Kyle Fletcher and Kazuchika Okada out of the Gold League, and Konosuke Takeshita and Jon Moxley out of the Blue League. So interesting stuff there. And then SmackDown here, we had The Miz and Joe Hendry promo, your favorite, which turned into a street fight, which Joe Hendry won. I think they called it like 34th Street Fight or something like that. Christmas themed. Charlotte Flair defeated Lash Legend, who I also believe is called up now. The big one, the big gun right here, Carmelo Hayes defeated Ilya Dragunov to win the U.S. title. That was a stellar match. That'll probably be the only thing that we talk about for this week in wrestling. Julia, who, as you may know from last week's show, I love dearly, my favorite wrestler, and Kiana James defeated Alba Fire and Chelsea Green. Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes had a promo standoff, which sets up their match in January. They're having another world title match. This time, though, it will be a 3 Stages of Hell match. First time that stipulation has been in WWE in 12 years, I believe. Almost done here. New Japan, they had one show, the Road to Tokyo Dome, on December 22nd. 2 little important things on that, kind of. El Phantasmo had an open challenge, which was accepted by Ryusuke Taguchi. Phantasmo retained the TV title, though, of course, as expected. I think that's his 6th defense. And then Hiroshi Tanahashi defeated Kosei Fujita. Dope match there. Of course, Tanahashi won with the high fly flow. And of course, I mentioned it the past few weeks here, but Wrestle Kingdom 20 is on the 4th of January. I'll be covering that. If we're going to do like a full show deep dive, I'm not 100% sure. We'll kind of cover that when we get there. But yes, Wrestle Kingdom 20 on the 4th of January. And then Marigold, Marigold First Stream 2026 is on January 3rd. So again, we'll cover that. They did have a show. They had the Twin Star Tag Team Tournament, which is like a 1-day tournament. Everybody you advance it all in a day. And the winners were Sari Yamoka and Chino, who defeated Chiaki and Misa Matsui of Darkness Revolution. And that is the fucking Weekend Wrestling
time.
27 seconds. Boom. All right. Good shit. Of course, through all of that, of course, if you have any other things that you want to mention, knock yourself out. For me, though, number one thing I care about is Carmelo Hayes. I have been so into Carmelo Hayes his entire career, I'd say, even Christian Casanova on the Indies. I think he's just a fucking hell of a wrestler. Great promo. Like he has the everything that you want in a wrestler. If I were in charge of WWE today and I picked one male star to just boost up and one female star to boost up, Julia, Carmelo Hayes, give me the pen. But I thought it was a stellar match. The Dragunov reign was amazing. Like literally every week we had this podcast, we were like, great match. Cause that is just what he does. I'm glad that it really opened my eyes on Dragunov for sure. Not that I was like ever against him or anything like that, but I didn't really get the Dragunov experience until honestly this, title run. And then, the Gunther matches are phenomenal. Those are some of the best matches in WWE history right there. But, yes, that is my thoughts. I'm thrilled to see Carmelo Hayes with the belt. I hope he continues the U.S. Open title challenge. I think he will. But do you have any thoughts on 1, that, and 2, anything else on the week you'd like to talk about?
Honestly, just Carmelo Hayes. I really enjoy the United States Championship being that workhorse title that you can expect a great match from every week. Very amped to see where people thought about Carmelo Hayes in the summer, maybe even that pairing with like Melo Domiz. So to see his year end very incredible, hell yeah. I'm now like I've always been a Carmelo Hayes fan, but now that he's really come to be himself on the main roster with gold around his waist, just like what you said, I share the same sentiment that I really hope that these U.S. Championship Open challenges continue, because that's what's going to make the title must see, albeit to the Miz. Yeah, I really do hope that they continue. That is literally the only thought, other than maybe Raw on paper looked like a good card. I just didn't watch any of Raw.
Yeah. But
that, from
4 minutes
from the week of, yeah, dude, I'm impressed with you. We are now moving on to the first show of 2 shows here. This show came at a very late last minute for me to order. I knew I was going to end up ordering it, but I really didn't. I'm not going to say I didn't want to, but I do have my regrets spending 60 Canadian on it. I'm, of course, talking about AEW's World End pay-per-view. I'm a big fan of AEW pay-per-views being on a Saturday, because in my work life, Saturday is my Friday. So if I know there's a pay-per-view to end my work week and it's just hard-hitting wrestling, AEW has me covered. The opening bout, I'm not going to talk about the pre-show because I don't even know what was on the pre-show. The opening bout was Okada taking on Takeshita in the Continental Classic semifinals. And what a treat as the opening contest. These two have been feuding internally in their faction, and having the semifinal contest and the Continental Classic have them square off as a fun and great decision. Admittedly, I did tune in halfway through the contest because I was still thinking if I was going to order it or not. Very happy that I did. Where I tuned in from, it was very high speed. There was an answer to everything that each competitor threw at each other. Everything had a rhyme and reason. Every move had a counter, essentially. But just like Okada is known for, he was always one step ahead. The Rainmaker cancellation turned into the Poison Rada by Takeshita was beautiful. It had a beautiful 2.99999 kick out. The crowd and I were both shocked. Okada used the screwdriver to win and advance him to the finals, not me. I was just advancing sitting on that couch still. That'd be cool. And correct me if I'm wrong, but both the opening contest of this pay-per-view and Full Gear had a weapon involved to secure the victory. Extra points to Don Callis for not checking in on Okada and not checking in on Takeshita and immediately going to his breadwinner, Okada. This really sets up that full-fledged face turn by Okada's opposition. What did you think of the opening match?
Yes, so I was hoping you wouldn't mention the pre-show, as you did. I remember we talked about this. I had every intention of writing for it, and I didn't watch it. I will be so honest with you. I was working when it happened. So I came home. The show just started. Like I had gotten home right when Okada's entrance happened. So I missed it, and to be honest with you, I don't think I needed to see it. But this match, here's my thing. So it was good. It was quite good, but it did not live up to my expectation. Let me tell you why. Me, obviously, having watched a good amount of New Japan, we know about Okada, right? We know, like, I don't even necessarily need to say it, but he is one of the best wrestlers of all time. If you didn't know, classics after classics. So when he came to AEW, and it honestly, in a weird sense, it made me like him more, because like, as somebody who does work and knows the art of phoning it in, I can definitely appreciate that he, I don't want to say doesn't try in America, but it's definitely a little bit lesser down. Like, yeah, he has his people that he turns it up for, like, Omega, I'd say Kyle Fletcher, your Jay White, so on and so forth. But for the most part, he's kind of just chilling, which again I respect. On the other hand, though, I love Konosuke Takeshita. Absolutely love him. He is my favorite AEW wrestler. Not even particularly close. I think he's phenomenal. So this match I was so excited for. And again, I don't want to, like, I say this like it has a negative tone to it. I don't mean it that way. It was a good match. You covered a lot of the good moves. It definitely picked up that second half. I loved the first half of Danielson. Really, Brian Danielson was on commentary and he was explaining, like the strategy of the Continental Classic. It adds to the legitimacy, like don't use all the gas tank, kind of a feeling out process, explaining like how Takeshita has the power game. Like they had a couple like exchanges, and Danielson was like, I probably wouldn't do that if I were Okada, and he ended up proven right. But yeah, no, I will say I get why the match was set up the way it was, because the story they're telling, obviously Okada had cheated, as you mentioned, he used the screwdriver. So it's kind of like a thing of he can't beat Takeshita without cheating, because he knows Takeshita is going to surpass him. So I think that creates an interesting dynamic going into eventually. I'd imagine they're going to have another match for sure. My guess is they'll do a triple threat with Kyle Fletcher, and then they'll have a third match with just Okada and Takeshita. But so I do understand that, but I think that, and then also that this was the semifinal match. If this was the finals, I think that's kind of a different story. But having a match as big as this, like, again, especially if you put this like this is Okada we're talking about, like any other place, this is not going to be an opening contest, and certainly not a semifinal. But I don't think any of that, I'm kind of like hypocriting myself here. It doesn't take away from the match. Like, it was still good. However, the next match was fucking fire. So if you may, Matt, explain what happened.
Back-to-back treats with World Ends opening matches. We have Jon Moxley taking on Kyle Fletcher. I'm so pissed off how I pronounced his last name. I'm thinking about
Takeshita.
Yeah.
You're good. Yeah.
I think in every podcast we've done, I've just been saying it right today, and now I'm pronouncing it the way it's spelled. I'll be thinking about that heading into the Stardom show, because you will not wait to hear how I pronounce them. But going back to this match, this is Jon Moxley versus Kyle Fletcher, another Continental Classic semifinal. Kyle Fletcher fighting Jon Moxley is a dream match I never knew I wanted until I saw the two square off in the ring. I had to Google it. I did a quick Google search. I didn't get too in depth. I think this is the first time these two men have squared off in AEW, at least. And holy shit, it was such a good match, because Jon Moxley, since losing the AEW World Championship, is back in my I enjoy watching Jon Moxley matches, which was never the sentiment during his championship reign and a little bit before it. Fletcher wiped his hand across Moxley's face to Moxley shoving Fletcher back. These two men are very hungry to be in the finals of the Continental Classic. Brian Danielson complimenting Kyle's rise to the top while comparing it to the downfall of Moxley was incredible storytelling to add a quick story to this semifinal matchup. Both men do need this victory for entirely different reasons. Kyle Fletcher wants to end 2025 saying, although I've lost the championship, although my stock is kind of going down, 2026, I just want to be on the up. Kyle Fletcher taunts Moxley by entering the ring, automatically rolling out, taunting the crowd. But Jon Moxley does not take disrespect at all. He jumps Fletcher on the outside. Quick sign shout out to the Mox Blood Zone sign, thinking this is a Moxley match. He's going to bleed. A little bit later in the match, the two trade blows and whip one another into the barricade on the outside of the ring. Fletcher locks Moxley's leg behind the steel steps, digs his thumbs right into Moxley's eyes, and if that's not enough, Fletcher hits that drop kick against the steel steps with Moxley's leg still on the inside. Absolutely sadistic. From this point on, Fletcher makes Moxley's left leg the prime target with various submission holds and blows. And then I'm going to skip forward in the match once again. Moxley takes Fletcher's head off with a clothesline, but cannot capitalize due to the damage of his leg. At this moment in time, Moxley is digging deep in his bag of moves to put Fletcher away, but you can start to see the fear of doubt on Moxley's face. Fletcher will not stay down, and the two trade elbows to the jaw while the crowd reacts to each and every shot. At this moment in time, I know that I'm fully invested in this match. Moxley wins the back and forth with a double leg dropkick. In the move of the match, Fletcher hits Moxley with a suplex on the apron. which if Michael Cole was an AEW commentator, he would remind you that it is the hardest part of the ring. Moxley beats the ref's count of 10, but cannot reverse the upcoming powerbomb by Fletcher. The match really picks up from this point as the arena is on its feet, and Fletcher has a one-legged boxing crab in. Moxley gets out of this with his signature headlock and turns Fletcher's face purple. From one bald athlete to another, Fletcher takes one out of Kurt Angle's books and locks in an ankle lock. Moxley barely escapes with his hands on the bottom rope. The two men eventually travel their way to the top of the rope and to reach new heights, and I mean that literally. Fletcher gets planted on his head after being thrown from the top rope. If I thought that was a nasty landing, I just had to wait till going to Twitter the next day because everybody had something to say about this specific move. This is followed up with a curb stomp. Again, Moxley can't capitalize, but Fletcher kicks out because Moxley cannot capitalize. A knee strike seems to be the end by Fletcher, but Moxley kicks out at goddamn 1. He has his super finisher on. Fletcher looks like he's about to win with the brainbuster. Another 2.99 kick out really leaves Fletcher doubting if he can keep Moxley down. But Moxley takes advantage of Fletcher's confusion after trying to look for the screwdriver, but it was already used earlier in the match, so Okada and Don Callis brought it to the back, and Fletcher gets hit with a paradigm shift and another headlock, and Moxley gets the W. Fletcher has passed out, and Moxley punches his way to the finals of the Continental Classic against Okada. And I'm going to say holy shit because of the match, but holy shit because I forgot the match coverage was this long, and they only get longer.
That is true.
What did you think, my friend?
Man, I tell you what, I loved this match so much. I think I've mentioned this on a previous podcast, if I'm not mistaken. I have never been the biggest Moxley fan. I've always respected him. I think he's a phenomenal promo. I get why he's the ace at AEW. And I understand, he is great in the ring, but he hasn't really like clicked with me honestly until losing the title. Like the Death Rider, the AEW world title run, I was like, holy shit, I'm bored to tears. But since losing it and this Continental Classic run specifically, just amazing. And when you let him just wrestle, like I don't mean to sound like a geek, but when you take away the blood spots, I don't mean to sound like, wimpy and whatever, but when you just let the dude wrestle, he is fucking amazing. I'm of course talking about Jon Moxley. On the other side of things, I adore Kyle Fletcher. I think I've also mentioned that on a couple podcasts. I was rooting for him to win. I thought that it would have been really cool, especially if they were doing it like Okada and Takeshita in the semifinals. I would have loved to have seen Kyle Fletcher just win outright. By the end of this match, though, and the tournament as a whole, I was on Team Moxley for sure. And it was honestly because of this match. I was happy that he won. You mentioned pretty much all of the highs of this match. One thing that I will say for sure, it kind of encapsulates everything you said. I think Kyle Fletcher is really underrated, especially for being younger. At structuring matches, like having shit make sense. I think he does an amazing job in that aspect. Cause again, I don't mean to sound like one of them keyboard warriors, as you would say.
Our neckbeard
moment of the week. But, a lot of people it's just move, which I like. Don't get me wrong. I love just throwing stuff out there, but I can appreciate a good structure as well. And I think Kyle Fletcher does a really good job of that. Obviously, Moxley is phenomenal in that aspect. He's been doing it forever. Specifically the headlocks and Kyle Fletcher not being able to win tournaments. That was kind of like his story, was he couldn't ever make it past the semifinal. It happened, if I believe I'm not mistaken, the AEW Trios tournament. It happened for the Trios titles. It happened in the Owen Hart against Adam Page, and the first Continental Classic he was in when he lost to Will Ospreay, and then now obviously this one. So that it's a compelling story, and that ties in with the structure well. The Planet on the Head, that spot, I thought it was like, I was obviously like, holy shit, like that was a nasty landing. But. And I don't know if you saw William Regal's whole spiel about it, presumably about it anyways.
Yep.
But I mean, I don't know. He was safe. He was fine. Am I getting dropped on my head personally? No. Like I'm just sitting in the chair telling you what I think. But I thought it was, it was a good spot. I was like, oh shit. But no, I adored this match. Honestly, this might be crazy. I think this is my favorite Continental Classic match. Period. Of all the tournaments. Maybe the only one I'd maybe put up there is Fletcher's match with Ospreay last year, and maybe Ospreay Okada. But honestly, I think I could say this one was my favorite. Yeah, I was surprised how well they paired together.
Me too.
Like two very different styles for sure. But I absolutely loved it. I hope next year either Kyle Fletcher can win the Owen or the next Continental Classic. I'd imagine if they are going to do one of them, it would be the Continental Classic is my guess. Mm-hmm. But match of the night for me so far. Loved it.
And from a match of the night tonight to what we thought was the match of the night of the previous pay-per-view, we see our absolute phenomenal tag team of FTR taking on the Bang Bang Gang for the AEW Tag Championships in a Chicago street fight. And yes, Peyton, the juice is truly on the loose in Chicago this night. Just like how we talked about, FTR is definitely the match of the night highlight for AEW pay-per-views. And right out of the gate, this proves it. The teams are trading blows, using weapons, and heading right into the crowd. I am a huge fan, and I could not write this in a way that would make sense. I am a huge fan of how FTR incorporates the crowd's hatred for them into moves, into moments of each match, because it really gives you that old territory feel where you want to find this wrestler in the parking lot after the show and let him know what you think of him. And FTR play that so well. A solid trash can shot to the head of Wheeler by Gunn is quickly answered with Wheeler doing the same back. Wheeler takes Juice to the canvas from the top rope with an elevated backdrop. While I write these things, every single wrestling move name goes out of my head. So I think I call everything a backdrop and a variation of a suplex. I look back on it and I'm like, Matt, it was a fucking brain buster. But anyways, this leads to Gunn being the primary target and the victim of many kendo and trash can assisted maneuvers. In a very fun and creative spot, Cash substitutes his elbow for a trash can as he hits his second turnbuckle assisted drop into Gunn's head while he is laying over the knee of... Oh, goodness. Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody. Anyways, pretty sick.
Lots of apple cider.
Hell yeah. Seconds later, Juice flies across the ring. And I mean, he flies across the ring with a frog splash. Commentary calls it out. And he hits it on Dax and gets a near fall. He was laying on the knee of Dax. All right. Speaking of fun spots, Gunn uses a trash can as a Captain America shield to block a kendo shot and follows up with crushing Cash's head between the ring post and the trash can shield. The commentary table is able to collect hazard pay as Cash uses his adrenaline to send Gunn into the Spanish commentary table. We get our first signs of actual blood with Juice showing color. I am personally amazed that this is the first time we're seeing color on purpose, and it was not in the match before this being the Moxley match. The crowd chants "Go home" to FTR, but this only makes FTR more aggressive as Dax digs the chair into Juice's legs numerous times. FTR's chemistry is always off the charts, and they are all just too much for Juice to handle by himself. Dax has Juice locked in a leg submission as Cash flaunts the AEW Tag Championship right in Juice's face, and a holy fuck, that could have gone terribly moment move of the night. Cash flies out of the ring with a suicide dive, and he crashes through that table, but man, just like a Big E spear, that could have went totally wrong to the outside. Juice gets creative and breaks the submission hold with a fire extinguisher. Stokely shatters Juice and Gunn's championship dreams by taking out the ref during a pinfall attempt. Seconds later, Stokely looks to get involved again by stopping a chair shot. Juice says nope and pushes Stokely off the ring apron and almost through a table. Side note, Stokely getting stickers of this saying, like, referencing the spot on his luggage is fucking awesome. I love Stokely. And to end the match, it is absolutely pile driver city, I should say, as Gunn's head is driven into the canvas, a trash can, the AEW Tag Team Championship, and the Gunn and Juice dreams of winning the titles are no more because FTR retained the titles. What did you think of this Chicago street fight?
So when I laughed just now, I thought you were talking about the Stokely spot with the table because that shit was so funny. But They're both okay, so it's all good. But
no,
much similarly to what you were just saying, like just now, but also what we've kind of said in previous podcasts, specifically the last AEW pay-per-view we covered. FTR manages to always have great matches, even if we're never the most excited going into them. This one I actually was pretty excited going into it, just because I remember the match Juice Robinson and Jay White had for the tag titles on Collision, that 2 out of 3 falls, was spectacular. I think that was like a year or two ago. But so I knew like Juice Robinson in a tag team. He was with David Finlay in New Japan for a little bit in a tag team. I know he can deliver the juice, as we and commentary said a lot. I do remember that for some reason. I don't know why they kept mentioning that. But anyways, that's not the point. The point is, I thought this was really good. Specifically, man, I kind of what you were saying. I love the pairing of FTR and Stoke. I think that they are phenomenal as a trio. Stoke's just hilarious altogether. And I'm glad that he has found his home in AEW there. Of course, my highlight of the match, as you are the breakdown master here, I do again just got to mention that Stoke table spot. That was just peak comedy right there, in my opinion. But it was just a really fun match. A lot of good spots. Good. It's just a good old classic street fight. It's kind of like those in Rumbles, which we'll talk about later in the show. Very hard to mess them up. Like it's damn near impossible to have a bad street fight. And luckily we had 4 very capable people in there. Lots of fun here.
A lot of fun in that Chicago street fight that I didn't even know was a match on the card. It was just a very welcome addition for me, because I will admit, heading into World's End, a lot of the card was new to me. This next match travels from the AEW Men's Tag Team Championships to the AEW Women's Tag Team Championships. We get the Babes of Wrath being Harley Cameron and Willow, and they will be taking on Athena and Mercedes Moné. I am such a fan of the Babes of Wrath. I am right now about 3/4 of the way through Harley Cameron's podcast interview with Ariel Hawani. I have sometimes mixed feelings about that guy and the way he presents podcasts, but for this podcast, I have been really enjoying it. I do enjoy AEW's vision here, making sure the AEW Women's Tag Team Championships and the champions as well are solidified as threats. They always have been, especially Willow. She's world loved everywhere, but putting them up against Mercedes Moné and Athena would really put some oomph behind these tag championships. And the signs are just way too good tonight, because when there's a Willow, there's a way. The match starts with Willow and Mercedes starting for their respective teams. Psych, Harley gets tagged in and gains the offense against Mercedes. Athena gets the blind tag in, and all 4 women are now squaring off in the ring. Seconds later, Mercedes and Willow have a fun back and forth reversal fest at ringside that ends with an apron powerbomb on Mercedes and an out of nowhere suicide dive from Athena to Willow. Holy shit. And if you think the high flying moves are done, Harley comes right from the skies, out of nowhere, hits a crossbody on Athena. The crowd and myself are already loving how fast paced this match is out of the gate. A long blower backstabber tag team combo from Mercedes and Athena keeps Harley grounded, but Harley is also learning firsthand on why her opponents are such decorated professional wrestlers. A nice call out from Excalibur stating that Harley's kickouts are coming later and later on each pinfall attempt, and that this could already spell the end of the tag team championship reign for the Babes of Wrath. Harley plants Athena with a spike DDT, tags Willow into the match. Willow tries to stay on the offense, but Athena gets the moment with 2 incredible reversals and a German suplex, which got an audible holy shit in this Google Doc I'm reading off of, and from my couch in the living room. A little bit later in the match, the 4 women hit your typical Tower of Doom spot, and that's how you do know it's a multi-person match. A double crucifix from Harley to her opponents almost puts a bow on the match, but not quite yet. A statement maker is locked in moments later with Willow having nowhere to go, and Mercedes wrenches on the back of Willow's neck. Willow has a statement of her own to make as she counters it with a Death Valley driver. Willow goes for it, but before Athena can break up the pin, Willow is thinking 2 steps ahead and allows Mercedes to come crashing down on Athena. And then inadvertently, Mercedes hits Athena with a clothesline as Willow ducks out of the way just in time again. The crowd are the absolute loudest they've been up for this match. And I'd honestly argue for the night. Willow heads to the top rope, but is quickly met with Athena stopping the climb from going any higher. Mercedes jumps onto Athena's shoulders to hit a superplex powerbomb combo on Willow from the top rope. Holy shit. Wow. Harley just saves their championship reign by breaking up the pinfall. Commentary puts over Harley's rise to the top in 2025 as she's become a crowd favorite and an integral part of the women's division, and I could not agree more. Willow rolls up Mercedes Moné to retain the AEW Women's Tag Team Championships in my match of the night so far. And as I learned on Ariel's podcast with Harley, this is only her third year in wrestling, and she's already putting on arena burners, such as this matchup. What did you think of this match, my friend?
Yes, I did not know this was her third year. I knew she was fairly new, but I didn't know like that new. But I enjoyed it. It was another good showing here. Kind of similar to the previous tag match. Pretty hard to mess things up when you have the kind of caliber of talent that you have here. Obviously, Mercedes Moné is one of the best women's wrestlers ever, in my personal opinion. Athena is spectacular, especially really the match that made me realize like holy shit was the one with Queen Aminata Ring of Honor previously in 2025. Excellent stuff by both. Willow's Willow, man. If there's a Willow, there's a way, like you said. She's amazing. And Harley Cameron, I mean, again, to your point, really came into her own, has really become an integral part of the roster and the show altogether. And yeah, I thought it was just a great showing by everybody. I thought specifically, maybe not so much like one specific move that they did, but I just really liked the chemistry that Moné and Athena had. I really want to see them be a tag team. I think that they could definitely bolster that division. We've seen previously with women's tag titles, they don't usually end out that well. Or at least they're kind of like not treated as something serious. So I do hope that they are more, this is proving to be that they are going to be treated with as much respect as the men's titles. And again, obviously adding somebody like a Mercedes Moné and Athena in there would be great. And Willow. I mean, again, come on, it's Willow. Who, like, if you don't like Willow Nightingale, you have a problem.
You're the problem.
Yes, I can say that with confidence. And Harley Cameron, man, really, I always thought she was super funny, like with the puppet thing, and like I really liked her. Yeah, just randomly yelling. But no, as a wrestler, she's definitely really coming to her own. I really like the setups, especially at the end with them striking Mercedes and Athena striking each other on accident. And then kind of after the match, as Willow and Harley are celebrating, Athena's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? To Mercedes. And I also really liked, we don't ever usually really mention like backstage promo segments or whatever, but shortly after this match, when Mercedes just has a breakdown in the locker room, that was excellent. That was so good. That's all that Mandalorian acting put to good use there. She killed it. And that sets up a match we'll talk about next week. But yeah, no, overall, again, I really did enjoy the match.
I'm very excited to talk about the week in wrestling for AEW next week. I haven't watched the show from beginning to end, but just knowing Jon Moxley and Josh Alexander are on that card.
Oh, yes.
I'm very excited to watch that back. I'm so excited. This next match is a match that I was not excited about because, again, I just sound like such a fake wrestling fan. I didn't know this was on the card. I promise you, Section 103 listeners, I am a wrestling fan. Just look at that giant car that I got for Christmas. That's what it is. Out of the gate in a Darby Allin versus Gabe Kidd match, which is the fifth match. I apologize for not saying it. He launches himself right into Gabe Kidd. This does not work out in Darby's favor because Gabe gets the early momentum and whips Darby out of the ring and eventually into the steel steps. From Pac to Kidd, Darby's recent pay-per-view bouts have been against very hard hitters who can really take Darby to his limits. He shifts the momentum back to himself by hitting a lightning speed suicide dive to Gabe that sends both men into the ringside barricade. I'm just kidding once again. I'm always kidding with my match reviews. Gabe answers seconds later by sending Darby into the timekeeper's table That's a Darby Allin spot of the night. Gabe plants Darby's head on the inside of the steel steps with a vicious-looking catapult maneuver. Please go check that move out. I'm sure there's a GIF of it on AEW's Twitter, because that is a Darby Allin spot of the night. This, of course, has Darby show color and pour it all over the canvas. If the steel steps were not enough for Darby and not enough for you, Gabe sends Darby into the steel ring post because Darby is a glutton for pain. Gabe looks to get the steel trifecta by also using a steel chair after a steel steps and a steel ring post, but Darby gets a breath of momentum with a dropkick into the steel chair and into Gabe's forehead. That chair had a loud slap, just like the Stardom slaps that we're going to talk about a little bit later. If Gabe has steel to his advantage, Darby uses his teeth to his advantage because he bites right into Gabe's forehead in disgusting fashion. Eventually, the bloody men make it back into the ring. Gabe sinks his own teeth into Darby's head as an ugly form of payback. A code red from the top rope almost gives Darby the victory, but Gabe just escapes at another 2.99. Darby, of course, stays on top of it. It's a blood-filled coffin drop. Gabe escapes to the outside, but the lunatic that is Darby Allin hits a second coffin drop from the inside of the ring to the outside. Moments later, Darby gives a weaker tribute to his tag team partner by locking in a Scorpion Deathlock that doesn't quite give him the victory, but does some serious damage. And then the match concludes with Darby getting the victory, with a blood-soaked victory, that is, with a pinfall, as Excalibur puts it. A fun match nonetheless, not one I was excited for, but one I'm very happy that I was able to talk about. What did you think of Gabe Kidd and Darby Allin?
I think this might be our first differing opinion here of the show today. The the problem with we've mentioned it before. We're definitely both we either must be old or maybe we're just fake fans. Because these shows are too long. By this point in time was kind of when the show kind of took a nosedive for me. There's one other match this whole way through that I actively cared for. It was not this one. The problem, granted, in all fairness, could have been my distaste for both Darby Allin and Gabe Kidd. I believe I spoke about my Darby Allin problems a few podcasts ago. But Gabe Kidd is somebody, so he had that match with Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom, and that was fucking incredible. If you have not seen that, go do yourself a favor. And the story was perfect. He was like, I'm gonna be like the New Japan guy now. I wear that logo on my knee. And he just took a flat tire the whole rest of the year through. He's been I feel like he's just trying to get that AEW contract and Death Riders, and I have not cared about Gabe Kidd since. I don't know if that's his fault, if that's New Japan's fault, if it's even AEW's fault. We can say, or a mix of all three. Everything he's done has just kind of been I don't know. Post that match, which was crazy because that was that piqued my interest so bad because it was so phenomenal. But yeah, back to the match. Unfortunately, again, I kind of don't have anything to say about it. I thought it was just fine. If anything, it was just the classic Darby Allin match. Get beaten up, has his classic what the fuck moment, as you mentioned. And then he somehow pulls out the win. Again, I don't care either way. And unfortunately, no. I'll let you. You go ahead and do the next match here. I did enjoy the next one more. I will definitely say that. So if you may take it away.
This next match for me as a wrestling fan kind of was the get everybody on the card for the last show of the year kind of match, because we have the Death Riders taking on Tony Storm, Roderick Strong, Orange Cassidy, and Mark Briscoe. It is, how I would describe the Death Riders enter is kind of like a bootleg supervillain entrance. That's definitely the vibe they gave me there. But they did it in a cool way, so it's officially a cool bootleg supervillain entrance. The conglomerations, I can say that.
I don't know it either. I will tell you right
now. They have a bootleg. Yep, they have a bootleg '90s TV show entrance that is just as great. These eight know how to make an entrance, whether it's bootleg superhero or bootleg '90s entrance. The match, as you can guess it, with all eight of these competitors is mayhem right out of the gate. Everyone is throwing haymakers. Wheeler gets the loudest boos of the night as he tosses Tony Storm to the outside of the ring. Wait, he not only gets boos, but he also gets a strong fuck you, Yuta chant. The new TNT champion gets revenge for the timeless one as he stays on top of Yuta with punches to the head in the corner. Two of the greatest to ever lace up a pair of boots, Claudio and Roderick Strong, get their time to shine with hard-hitting shots back and forth. Seconds later, it turns into Orange Cassidy and Daniel Garcia trading blows. I read recently that people were experiencing Orange Cassidy fatigue. I honestly don't know if I can get behind that because that's always just been Orange Cassidy. I don't think it's ever going to be Orange Cassidy fatigue because he just is Orange Cassidy. He gets a reaction out of me no matter what he's doing. This match being no exception. Marina faces off with Cassidy. They have a fun, quick back and forth in the ring. And to the surprise of absolutely no one, the fuck you Yuta chants filled the Chicago arena once more as the Death Riders gang up on Cassidy in Hound-like fashion. Roderick Strong tries to put a stop to it. The Hounds also take out the Death Riders. Marina puts her marriage aside and also joins in on the beatdown of Roderick Strong. I sense couples counseling is in their near future, but not yet because Mark Briscoe hopes to be the change the crowd wants to see, but he also becomes a target of the Death Riders as they make quick work of the TNT champion. Finally, and I mean finally, Toni Storm gets some offense in against Marina and sends her to the outside. Mark Briscoe and Toni Storm are teaming up against Claudio to bring the momentum back to the good guys. And yep, that's an Orange Cassidy and Toni Storm spot of the night. Toni and Cassidy use dance moves to their advantage as they take at various members of the Death Rider with spins, elbow drops, dance moves, and other strike-in maneuvers. Later in the match, Toni builds her own suplex city with a German suplex to both Yuta and Garcia, and eventually a tornado DDT to Claudio. Speaking of tornadoes, Claudio locks in his infamous swing on Toni Storm. Say goodbye to Toni's suplex city, why don't ya? Ending the match, a J Driller secures the victory for the conglomeration and timeless Toni Storm. Overall, an entertaining match to get 8 of AEW's best on the last pay-per-view of 2025. But let's add in 4 more because Willow, Harley, Mira, and Luther all join in on the victory celebration too. Goodness gracious, my lips are dry, but that was a fun match. What did you think?
Yes, I as little as I was interested in the match from like looking at the card, I was like, okay, what am I here to see? What am I not? I'm happy to have had it just purely from a personality perspective. I think that's kind of what I took away from it. I got a kick out of the Death Riders, like little combo moves in the turnbuckle of them just running around, just taking turns. I thought that was kind of fun. But also, of course, as you mentioned, the antics of Toni Storm and Orange Cassidy. They ended up with their nice little dance moves. It's not like a match that's like a 5-star classic and it'll blow you away, but it was definitely enough to warrant a placement on the show. I loved obviously the Roderick Strong and Marina Shafir interactions. I love beating up Claudio. I loved the crowd being mad at Yuta. Like again, from a personality, like that's what I just enjoyed more than like any in-ring action. I just loved all the characters involved here. It was just one of the matches that's like, you know what, just an enjoyable, fun watch. One thing that you mentioned though, that I thought was interesting because I have seen it too, the whole Orange Cassidy burnout thing. I don't feel the way either. I agree with you. I love me some Orange Cassidy. I can't ever be like, oh, I'm burnt out on him because I mean, for one, I don't really feel like he's always like shoved down the throat. Like I feel like you would expect that more like if was someone to be burnt out on, and I don't mean this in disrespect because I'm not burnt out on him, but like somebody like Moxley or like who is like actually literally always around. But no, and like he's Orange Cassidy's had some matches that have had me levitating. Like I think of the Ospreay match from Forbidden Door. That's a classic. I think
he had a good Moxley match. I think
yes, yeah. Oh, yes, the Moxley match at all out. Whatever the all out is
the opposite one.
After yes. That match again had me levitating. You go back to the pandemic days with Pac and Kenny Omega, that triple threat. Like I'm not gonna ever talk bad on Orange Cassidy. I think when he turns it up, like honestly, there's not a whole lot of people better than Orange Cassidy. So yeah, no, I'm a fan of him. But regardless, again, enjoyable match. But the next match, holy shit! Let me tell you, I ate so bad this whole entire week with all my women's wrestling. This match, all the Stardom. Why don't you take it away?
I'm going to take it away, but before we get there, I want to create a little bit of tribalism, and I mean it as my neckbeard moment of the week. To any Section 103 listeners, please count how many times we have neckbeard moments. I think Orange Cassidy fatigue would exist if he was a WWE character, because WWE loves their comedy characters and making sure like they're doing their hardest to make you laugh. Where Orange Cassidy in AEW as Orange Cassidy, I will not get tired of him. Anyways, moving on to the seventh bout of the night, we have our AEW Women's World Championship on the line as Chris Statlander defends against Jamie Hayter. These are two of my absolute favorite woman competitors in AEW squaring off. I will say, because I know you may say it on your part, Chris Statlander always gets dealt such a doom spot on the card every night, but she always perseveres and makes sure she can wake that crowd up because she is an incredible athlete and an incredible champion. The match begins with a classic show of strength against one another, with Statlander getting the upper hand and shoving Hayter to the outside of the ring. The match quickly picks up its speed as early on as both women are staying on top of every strike and every reversal. They eventually try for 2 double shoulder blocks against each other back to back, but neither woman want to admit defeat and lose offense, so it is just consistent stalemates. The match makes its way to the outside of the ring, and they involve the steel steps to be the deciding factor on who gets the momentum, which would ultimately be Statlander. Seconds later, Statlander connects with a back suplex splash combo for a 2 count. Hayter does not, and I mean does not, want to be denied tonight, as she wants to bring the AEW Women's World Championship to an end, home with her to end 2025. Hayter connects with a missile dropkick off the announcer's table to gain momentum, and she stays on top of Statlander with a second missile dropkick inside the ring mere seconds later. A haluva kick high boot combo from Hayter to Statlander only grants the 2 count, but Hayter turns the 2 count into a headlock that Statlander has to fight her way out of to continue being the defending champion and not the losing champion. Back and forth elbow strikes that end with a lariat wakes the crowd up, but rocks Statlander almost out of her boots. You can tell, similar to Moxley earlier in the night, that Hayter is looking deep into her bag of moves to end Statlander's title reign. Both women climb to the top rope for a devastating superplex, but Hayter cannot capitalize on the pinfall, so it only grants another 2 count. I typed this next part in all caps because it was a mother frickin' package pile driver from Statlander, almost ending the match, and that was a snug package pile driver. A very desperate Statlander looks to hit a high flying move on Hayter. Hayter intercepts. The devastating top rope moment here ends with a nasty looking spinning suplex from the top rope. I knew AEW was going to give us like that replay, but I rewinded my Amazon purchase just to kind of see what happened there too, because that was a devastating, nasty looking spinning suplex. That should have been the one talked about on X the next day, but I digress. Statlander takes too long to make the pinfall attempt and gives Hayter just enough time to shift the momentum back and hit a brutal Shining Lizard for a 2 fall. This match is truly off of the fucking charts. At this moment, this is my match of the night. Both women are putting on an absolute clinic and just showing how much the AEW Women's World Championship means to them. More back and forth forearms to one another ends with Statlander hitting a lariat that could have sent Hayter's head off right to Section 103 in the arena that night. And if that's not enough hard-hitting action in 1 minute, Hayter finds a second win by hitting Statlander's Saturday Night Fever against her mere seconds later. But to end our championship contest, a 5-star out of 5-star match, Hayter clocks Statlander with the lariat, but Statlander proves why she's the champion by connecting with her own Saturday Night Fever to retain the AEW Women's World Championship. Oh my goodness, absolute match of the night right there. What did you think?
Yes, so when you me and you sometimes will text during like a match, or like, you know, before, after, whatever. And so you had texted me, like I'd seen your text. You were just like, you were kind of like, I don't know, like everybody just kind of seems a little out of it. Like the crowd, the competitors, even like they kind of seem a little out of it. But I saw that text after the match, so I was like levitating, eyes closed. Like I was like, what did I just see? Like I was in heaven. That's how I felt watching this match. Again, between Stardom and this, I ate like the whole week. It was great. But I will say, like with your text, I did notice like the first few minutes, for sure. Like the crowd obviously being a little quiet, as you mentioned, just now with Statlander and her spots on the card. It's so unfair because she's so good. She definitely deserves better placement there. But the crowd quickly learned to get invested. And it was a clinic, man. Again, I totally agree with you. Statlander and Jamie Hayter are two of my favorites, as well as I'd put Monet and Queen Aminata up in there. as well, as just like my pillars of like, just go out there, put them on, and you're getting a classic. Yeah, of course, again, started out with that little classic feeling out process before hitting some of those crazy moves. Again, the one that you mentioned, that like nasty spinning brainbuster suplex, little hybrid on the top rope. When I saw that, I was just goosebumps down the arm. I was like, holy shit, this is it. And I also just love their finishers. The Haterade, which is Jamie Hayter's, her little lariat, and then Saturday Night Fever. Which is just a dope ass name too. Like I love that name for a finisher. I think that's great from Chris Statlander, and that's used in the climax by both women, respectively. Using each other's moves, really showing how well they know each other. For me, this alongside with Fletcher and Moxley was my match of the night. It was just a hard hitting affair that had me glued to my screen. If there is one match to search out, or well, I guess two in that case, this is the other that you need to go and see. That top rope spot was just awesome. Pile driver was awesome. I was levitating in my chair. It was great. And yeah, I hope though, cause obviously Statlander had the, Mercedes match. She had 2 or 3 of them, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely 2. I think she had 3, but regardless, I want a rematch. Like give them the opener. The next pay-per-view, I think, is gonna be Revolution. I'm still thinking about going to it. I still am. I'm not gonna lie to you. We'll see how that works out. But God, I need a rematch, and I want them to open or close. I don't care, but probably open.
If you go to Revolution, I'll go to Dynasty because that's in Montreal.
Oh yes. I will. Yeah, it's like from here to California. It's like a 2-hour flight. So I didn't do that, but yeah, I have thought about it because it is the week of my birthday, so we'll see. But anyways, that doesn't take away from anything here. The match was excellent. Absolutely loved it.
I think this next match is just as good as the 2 that came before it. Maybe the one that came before it, because we have Okada taking on Moxley in the Continental Classic Finals. This match begins with something that I was just like, why would you do that? Okada offers a handshake to Moxley, but Moxley shows Okada what he thinks of him with that middle finger. Mere seconds later, Okada returns the middle finger and shoves it right into Moxley's face. It takes a little bit of time at this point for the match to pick up speed. Both men are showing signs of wear and tear from earlier in the night in their respective semi-final matches. Okada targets Moxley's already damaged leg with various elbow drops and submission holds. Moxley's doing his best to ignore the pain, but ultimately they cannot because the pain becomes too much to handle. A snap DDT on the outside from Okada to Moxley keeps the momentum in Okada's favor, but he is taken way too much time with any follow-up moves. The Steel Steps are truly getting a paycheck, and they are the MVP of the night as they become the tag team partner of Okada in this contest, because he drops Moxley on the knee first. Compared to earlier matches in the night, as I just said, the match is very slow-paced, but the crowd is invested with every strike and submission hold. That's how you know the AEW crowd wants to be where the best wrestles, because even if a match is slow, the crowd is cheering. They're going even so far as to cheer for Moxley. Who would have thought? Because comparing to WWE in Canada, they call it Bizarro World when we cheer the heels over in Canada. So cheering Moxley in AEW is kind of crazy, but we will know why in a little bit later. Another DDT on Moxley grants Okada a 2-count pinfall. As the defending champion, why is Okada taking his time putting Moxley away is all I'm thinking. A knee-assisted neckbreaker cannot put Moxley away, but can definitely do a number of things to his health. The momentum finally shifts to Moxley with a lariat to Okada. The crowd begins to come alive as Moxley lands various slaps and elbow strikes, and even gets somewhat of a figure 4 leg lock locked in. A combination of dragon screws and a Texas cloverleaf start to bring out the vicious side of Okada and the desperate side of Moxley as he gets to the bottom rope for a forced break. I'm still not over the Moxley chants from the crowd at this match. The Chicago crowd is really, and I mean really, behind him. Later in the match, Okada fakes a Rainmaker to scare the ref and kick Moxley in the family jewels. This eventually leads to an actual Rainmaker and a 2-count. And just like earlier in the night, Okada wants to cheat his way to victory by bringing the Continental Championship into the ring. Moxley hits a low blow of his own to buy himself a few minutes of rest in the match. A forearm test of strength with both men ends with a paradigm shift and another 2-count. The 2-count leads into a bulldog headlock as Moxley looks to put Okada away the same way that he put Fletcher away, but it is not enough. To end the match, Moxley hits a Rainmaker, a Paradigm Shift, a Curb Stomp, and a Death Driver to become the winner of the 2025 Continental Classic because he is your new Continental Champion. I'm not going to go into detail because I don't want to play-by-play the lines, but Moxley hit such a babyface promo after this match that my thoughts are finally solidified. The Death Riders are going to be your badass group of a bunch of people who just want to beat the shit out of others and want the crowd to cheer them while they do it. What did you think of the Continental Classic finals?
I think this might be another differing opinion here. I was not super into it. This being the final, not only the final of the Continental Classic, but their first singles encounter with one another, period, should have been like just this huge ass major match. Like the writing was just right there. It's the final, first time encounter. How bigger can you get than that? And it was good. Again, like it very hard to mess that up. But for me, not only did it not eclipse every Continental Classic final before it, but even the semifinal matches for tonight, or the show, I thought were both better. But what I did like about it, the thing to point out, of course, is Moxley winning. I of course would have been fine with Okada. Really, genuinely, all of them. By the end of it, you could have had them win, whether it was Takeshita, Fletcher, Okada, Moxley, whoever. I would have been fine. Like that's a 4 really, really good group of people to have there. But yeah, I by the end of it, again, like kind of like I was saying in his match with Fletcher, I was rooting for him to win by the end of it. And I'm glad that he did. And again, that promo after was incredible. He's very wonderful on the mic. But yeah, again, like kind of our thing with these shows. My gas tank was gone, especially after the Hayter and Statlander match specifically. I'm kind of scrolling through the little doc here that we have. It started out hot, I had the Takeshita Okada, Fletcher Moxley, the Juice Robinson match, and then going into Babes of Wrath. And then I kind of died down with Gabe Kidd and Allen. I enjoyed the multi-man and woman tag with the Death Riders and whatnot, but like I was still just kind of like, eye watching. Statlander Hayter boomed me, like that was the peak. And then the final 2 matches, not it for me personally. I was about ready to go to bed. But why don't you explain to us our main event here?
Our main event has Samoa Joe defending not only his AEW World Championship, but also his 35 days of holding the AEW World Championship, as he is taking on MJF, Swerve, and Hangman. I am so damn old, man. I'm only in my 20s. I am so old. I cannot believe how tired I was at the beginning of this match. And it was an AEW main event that went on before the clock struck 12. Oh, goodness. AEW chants before the match begins. Hell yeah. Just like previous matches before it, the haymakers are being thrown left, right, and center. Hangman gets the early momentum by staying on top of MJF and Samoa Joe with lariats and dives. Samoa Joe quickly becomes the main man of the match by targeting Swerve and Hangman. We are quickly reminded why MJF is such an ignorant prick as he shoves his nuts into Swerve's face, but Swerve reminds us whose house it is because he shoves both his boot and, second later, his nuts into MJF's face too. An impressive outside dive from Swerve to MJF sets up for a more impressive dive from Joe to both men. Holy shit. An overcalculated moonsault by Hangman takes out all 4 men. Kudos to Excalibur for selling the impact it would have caused to all 4 men. A nasty looking double stomp from Swerve to MJF keeps MJF out of the match momentarily. Hangman hits a very beautiful looking Swerve assisted buckshot lariat on Joe. Swerve and Hangman are left in the ring as the crowd at this point rise to their feet in applause. And just like Hayter and Statlander, these two are unable to capitalize on one another because they have an answer for every move attempted on one another. Swerve connects with his own Deadeye, but it doesn't keep Hangman down for long as Hangman connects with a buckshot. Moments later, Joe has the advantage over all 3 of his opponents, but puts his sights on Swerve with an attempted muscle buster. Swerve flips himself out of it, follows up with a German suplex on Joe. A nasty looking backbreaker power slam combo gets a 2 on Hangman, and Swerve is beginning to look desperate early on in the contest. MJF cannot stay in the ring long because every single time he enters, he is tossed right back out to the delight of the entire arena. A second buckshot lariat is reversed by Swerve, but the reversal is reversed as Hangman hits a picture-perfect Sido powerbomb And finally, MJF being in the ring for longer than 5 seconds gets some offense in on all of his opponents. MJF turns a buckshot into a stellar cutter / salt of the earth combo. Joe locks in the Coquita clutch at the same time. MJF is having none of it, breaks his salt of the earth submission on Hangman to dig his fingers into Joe's eyes. Mere seconds later, Joe locks in the Coquita clutch on MJF, and Swerve breaks it up with a house call. The crowd becomes alive for the possibility of Swerve becoming world champion. All four men are having an amazing, phenomenal sequence of moves with Swerve and Hangman kicking each other in the face. It's absolute havoc, and at this moment, I am loving absolutely every second of it. A Better Than You, Baby, Panama Sunrise by MJF to Swerve gets the 2 count, baby. And to the surprise of nobody, the Ops get involved to provide assistance to the AEW World Champion. Joe hits a muscle buster, but it doesn't put Hangman's away. The Ops confront Prince Nana, but coming to his aid from the high in the sky is Swerve with a double stomp to both Shibata and Hobbs. To end the match, we have a little fun sequence here. Joe locks in the Coquita clutch on Hangman. Swerve breaks it with a Swerve stomp on Joe. Swerve follows up with a gnarly looking powerbomb on Joe. MJF capitalizes on this by throwing Swerve off the top rope. Hangman attempts 3 buckshot lariats to Joe. MJF intercepts the third, kicks Hangman in the family jewels, and finally plants Joe on his head with a rope-assisted pile driver to become your AEW Men's World Champion, a 2-time at that before the age of 30. And here I am writing about this match, the duality of man, because I write about wrestling while I watch it. These men are living it. This puts end on a pretty average AEW pay-per-view. But throwing it over to you before we get into our main event show coverage, what did you think of this match and World's End?
Yes. So, okay, here's my problem. Everything that you said was beautiful, and I like as the match itself, everything you were saying was 100% correct. I agree. But my problem was that I just did not care. The issue that I had, like why I didn't care was because like I didn't care before the match even happened, and that already took me out of even trying to enjoy the match. Of course, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, MJF came back like two-ish weeks ago, depending on the holiday schedule, 2-3 weeks ago, whatever. And like the build leading up to the match, the Diddy lines from MJF and Swerve, it took me out, honestly. Maybe I'm just like old and sensitive, I don't know, but I'm like, dude, I don't care. The problem with it, I will say though, the Panama Sunrise tribute to Adam Cole was very sweet. And of course you called everything beautifully. But the result also kind of further enhanced my I don't really care. But mainly because I see it going the same way as his first reign did. So my stance on MJF is this. I think that he is a great promo. And I think that when you take away, but the problem with his promo, like when he stops being great is when he does cheap stuff like that, like the Diddy thing, or like, God forbid, if he gets to this Bandito match and he's mentioning like ice or something stupid. No, like get the cheap little pop away. Like I understand why it's there. Of course it doesn't need to be, you don't need that to be great. Cause he's proven it. Like perfect example, the CM Punk feud, those promos were magic. Their standoffs were incredible. He doesn't need this. Even the Danielson stuff, same thing. Like great, he didn't need any of this. But when you take away the cheap heat moments from his promos, and you just like focus on his wrestling, he is one of the best in the entire world. His move kit, whatever, amazing. I love the Heat Seeker, the pile driver on the rope thing, like beautiful. Again, watch the Danielson match, his world title match with Bryan Danielson. I want to say that was Revolution. Excuse me. Incredible. One of the best AEW main events ever, in my personal opinion. And like, I loved like at the start with that Adam Cole stuff. Like his first title reign started out hot. That was kind of the whole point I was getting at. His first title reign started out super hot with the Danielson feud going into the 4 Pillars match. and then going even into the Adam Cole feud, I like those matches a lot. And then like his pairing with him was great for, that bit. And then it fizzled out. And then the second half of the reign was terrible. The Jay White one specifically is the one that really like grinds my gears, because Jay White should have won. Yes, that was Full Gear. No reason Jay White should have lost that. And like, again, it just became very stale. And then like from that point on, that's when he started to do, the usual MJF, the cheap heat promo stuff, whatever. So, yeah, kind of though, in similar way, he seems to have a very good start here. His first opponent's Bandito. As long as he stays away from all that stupid stuff and just focuses on the wrestling, that's a perfect match. His opponent, presumably after that, we'll talk about that next week. That's going to be great as well, because that's also kind of hard to mess that up. And they already had a match, which was fantastic in previous year. But I think to make this title reign meaningful and doing it the correct way, how I would retcon the first one, is have him be the hunted, in a sense. Like, he has guys who are coming back who are here already that want him. You have Omega, you have Jon Moxley, Swerve, Hangman, Joe. Eventually Ospreay will get there. You can throw in new faces. Give me like an Ace Austin, Shelton Benjamin, of course. I'm just saying, I'll throw that one out there anytime. Bobby Lashley. Those two would make a lot of sense because of the whole Hurt Business stuff they did earlier in the year. Just make him a hunted guy. Remove the antics, like the cheap heat stuff. You can like still have him be like, obviously he's a bad guy. Have him, cut the villainous promo. Just take away all the stupid stuff out of there. Let him focus on the wrestling, and it could be a fantastic reign. The match itself, whatever. It's hard to mess up with that caliber of talent in there. But it was hard for me to care. As for World's End, my overall thoughts, it was fine. I'd give it, if we're going our classic little 5-star rating here, I'd give it a 3. If we want to kind of like extend it a little further, out of like 10, like a 6.5, I think is fine. My favorite match was either Chris Statlander versus Jamie Hayter or Jon Moxley versus Kyle Fletcher. My least favorite, I'm going to be honest, I'll give it to the main event. Might be kind of a shocker on that one, given like who all's in the match. Before we get to Dream Queendom, though, which I'm very excited for, I just quickly, you did give your overall thoughts on the show, but give me your rating, favorite match, and least favorite match, right quick.
Show 3.5 out of 5. It was dead set directly in the middle there. Favorite match is Statlander and Hayter and the Babes of Wrath versus Mercedes and Athena. My least favorite match is Gabe Kidd and Darby Allin. That closed out AEW's 2025 pay-per-view calendar. I'm excited to talk about this week in wrestling next week. But what are we talking about now?
Yes, so we are talking about Stardom here. Before hold on. Before we get into the show, I need to go on a little bit of a tangent. I will try my best to not make it boring and quick. So, I don't know if whoever is listening to our show here, if you're super familiar with purchasing pay-per-views, like Stardom or whatever it is. So they have a subscription service, and I even put quotations on that. It's called Stardom World. Pretty basic, you have your matches, cool, whatever. I initially thought, you buy the pay-per-view on Stardom World. That makes sense, right? American Wrestling Brain, WWE Network was a thing. You have it there, like Peacock or whatever it is. That's what I was thinking. I couldn't even find the option to like purchase a subscription. So I was like, okay, that's, kind of weird. How the hell am I going to watch the show? Does it come out like later? Is it like a tape delay or something? I don't know. As it turns out, you have to go to a whole separate other website, buy the shows. It was like $30. Personally, I got my money's worth out of it, especially because we were sharing. Sharing is caring in our big 2026 now. But yeah, as far as the website where you buy the show at, flawless. Like I have no complaints. Everything worked great. But just explain it to me a little better next time. I had to, how I found out where I had to buy it was from Reddit of all places. And I don't even have a Reddit account. I just like, I typed in on Google, how do I watch Stardom Dream Queendom? And that was how. So this was for, I guess, a little like other kind of context. Back in my days, before the WWE Network existed, you had to buy pay-per-views, but it was through cable. At least it was for me. And then obviously streaming took over. It was around 2013 to 2014, whatever. That whole happened. And then it was all streamlined from there. So this was my first time, not only like me personally buying one, but this was the first time since around like that 2013 era where I bought a wrestling pay-per-view. So that was kind of nice. But yeah, that experience, I just had to get that out of the way. The moral of the story, just keep it on one place. Yeah, make it easy. But anyways, yes, we are covering the Dream Queendom 2025. We'll do kind of the same little format if you have any objections, where you cover like our general rundown of the match first, because for me specifically, this was your first Stardom show, like in full time watching. So I've been looking forward to it all week to know what you thought of it. So if you may, will you please kick us off with our kickoff?
Before we do, I have to ask for forgiveness from you and our listeners and anybody who is a big Stardom fan. I promise you, I am trying my hardest not to be ignorant, but some of these names will not be pronounced correctly. I was even trying to learn on commentary their names, their right pronunciation. Brother, I would pause it, try to say it, it wouldn't come out. I promise over time, the more Stardom I watch, I'll be saying it a lot better than I said Okada's opponent earlier tonight. Our opening match, I will actually have you let me know how to do the names, then I'll probably go with it.
Okay. I think that works, because there is actually one match we'll get to later that I fucked up the typing on, so I'll get theirs there. But so our opening match is Kyoko Furusawa and Emma Mashima versus An Kanaya. Sorry, I'm fucking up too. It's not just you. And Matoi Hamabe, which is our little rookie kickoff.
Okay, so all four of these women are wearing really fun and unique gear. As I said on our coverage of Julia and Shuri last week, I am such a big fan of how Stardom matches start. Furusawa and Matoi, had a really good beginning to the match, a technical showcase mixed in with a test of strength. When Ima and Ann enter the ring, the match really picked up with speed. Furusawa's moments of momentum with strong offense and an ankle lock got the crowd engaged. And this is when I knew which team I was going to be cheering for. Matoi is intense, trading forearms back and forth with Furusawa, which would ultimately lead to her gaining the advantage. I am just kidding. Matoi got the momentum back and hit a nice flipping senton. Later in the match, Mishima is tagged in and hits a repetition of drop kicks to Matoi. I want to say at least 5, but the pinfall only resulted in 2. That ref was a little bit slower. Matoi finds an opportunity to hit her own drop kick to give her the chance to tag in. Oh goodness, I am so embarrassed. Can I? And I'll say Ann. Ann proves the theme of this match is drop kicks because everyone has it in their arsenal. A bit later, there's another moment of back and forth forearm strikes, and this round proves that to the combatants in this match are more worn as these forearms are really taking an impact on each other. A really fun dropkick and baseball slide pin with Furusawa ends with Mishima almost putting a bow on the match, but not quite. That is my move of the match. And then the match ends with a single leg Boston Crab turned into a double leg Boston Crab as Ann can't find herself escaping to tap out. She has to tap out to give the victory to Furusawa and Mishima. Nice commentary call to mention that Ann has not won a match just yet in Stardom, and this was almost at first. Gosh darn, I have set the fucking bar for match coverage on this show. I will get better. Oh my goodness. Jesus.
We really do this. No worries. It's all part of the learning curve. I promise. It's all right. But as for me, 2 things off the rip for me. I loved Kyoko's look, the red and black gear. It reminded me of I don't know if this was her intention. I would assume not, but it felt like a nice little Baby Metal tribute, like their first. I don't want to say gear because they're music artist, so that wouldn't make sense. But essentially, yeah, their gear, the Red and Black album, if you know what I'm talking about there. I used to be a baby metal fan back in the day, actually. But I thought that's what it reminded me of. I thought it was cool. It was the general look. But two, the Stardom rookie themes are fucking fire. They are bangers. They are so tough. But that aside, really fun opening kickoff match. It's obviously common practice for Japanese promotions, but every time coming from watching an American wrestling promotion, with our example here tonight being World's End, I love using kickoff matches as a means to showcase rookies and up and coming talent. Like, obviously, you can pair them with vets. I think that's great, but I believe that's what they should be used for. Kickoff matches should always be to highlight what you got coming up next. And I think that Stardom has a great system, New Japan, great system, so on and so forth. Big plus on that side. And what I also loved is that they gave all the women time. Like, it wasn't like a 2-minute match, but it also wasn't like a 30-minute barn burner, but everybody had an opportunity to showcase themselves. With that specifically, my MVP, I feel like when you get into Stardom, or any of these Joshi promotions here, you gotta claim a rookie. You gotta claim a rookie and just hope in like 5 years they're gonna be the next big thing. And I've got mine. Mine is Kyoko Furusawa. She was dope as hell. I love her look, of course. But her wrestling is really good, especially like all the usages of the ankle lock and the transitions that she had into it. I thought it was super clean. Of course, I got to shout out Miss An Kanaya here. She had a really cool, though it was probably unintentional, visual of her bloody mouth as she was struggling, and really enhancing that she has yet to win a match yet in Stardom. So I thought it kind of, added to the struggle, even if it wasn't necessarily intentional. But she, of course, as you mentioned, did not get that win, as Kyoko and Emma won the match, but it was a very good bout nonetheless.
It was a fire opening match. I was very happy to have that be my first actual Stardom match of like a tag team match. Our second match is also a tag team match. It is Tomoka Inaba and Shuri.
Oh, sorry. Did you want me to? I could, if you want, whatever. If you want, Tomoka Inaba and Shuri versus it's Azumi. I thought for the longest time it was just AZM, like you say the letter Azumi. Go. You're good. You're good. No, I was fucked up on that for years. I never knew. But yes, it is Tomoka Inaba and Shuri teaming up against Azumi and Starlight Kid.
So this is gonna be the all-time Section 103 podcast of all time. It's this one. My thoughts on this match and my breakdown are the match of masks with Azumi and Starlight Kid are just, you know what? Enough said. That was fucking fire. That was awesome.
Yes.
Seeing a familiar face with Shuri will already help me navigate this match, as it is no secret from my first match breakdown. I am new to Stardom. Tomoka looks like a champion. The gear and presentation are incredible. The dynamic of Shuri being receptive to the handshake and Tomoka wanting nothing of it to do with it is very interesting. It's something I do enjoy. Shuri and Starlight Kid begin the match with the good old technical showcase with arm bars, headlocks, head leg locks, and flips. Azumi shoots into the ring to knock Inaba off of the ring apron and proceeds to hit a tag team maneuver with Starlight Kid that I can only describe as Zoom. In all seriousness, it involves a lot of running. A standing moonsault by Starlight only gets a 2 count on Shuri. Tomoka hits a nasty soccer ball kick into Starlight's kidneys, quickly takes out to Shuri. Shuri follows up with her own soccer ball kick into Starlight's kidneys. Just kidding. She hits 2 devastating soccer ball kicks. A vicious combination of knee strikes and attacks in the corner by Tomoka only gets a 2 count on Starlight Kid. And similar to the rookie showcase, this match features a lot of back and forth forearm strikes. Tomoka ultimately gets the upper hand on the exchange. Starlight Kid, and I think I have seen this before in GIF form on Twitter, she hits a beautiful springboard crossbody. Azumi gets tagged in and hits an impressive head scissors arm drag on both Inaba and Shuri. Azumi looks to take flight, but Inaba gets out of the ring and delivers a big boot into Azumi's face. Later in the match, Azumi and Starlight Kid look to hit a double team maneuver in the corner of Shuri, but Shuri answers with a very impressive double code breaker. As the commentary said, Shuri is breaking the code. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Shuri plants her knee into the nose of Azumi and tries to take out, but she doesn't allow it to happen, and she brings Azumi to the top rope with a beautiful executed arm drag followed up with a kick to the chest. All 4 of these athletes are really proving why they want to win. The crowd is fully invested in the first official match of the pay-per-view. Moments later, Starlight and Inaba are the legal competitors in the ring. And the move of the match, Starlight tries for another springboard crossbody, but Inaba answers with a spinning kick reversal. Soon after, Starlight finds herself in the grasp of Shuri and soon headfirst into Inaba's knee with a simple yet effective tag team maneuver. Inaba looks to put the match away with the Sito front suplex striking kick, but Azumi breaks the pin to save her partner. To end the match, Starlight hits a double knee strike into Inaba's head. Azumi flies down with 2 knees, and Starlight connects with a picture-perfect flying moonsault to the pinfall victory. Oh my goodness, what were your thoughts on this contest?
Yes, before I can even get there, I gotta highlight, I love the opening movie. The music and the arena lights going along with the video package, it was just chef's kiss. I thought it was beautiful. The match itself, I had a lot of fun. Of course, as you mentioned, returning from the last week's podcast, we have Shuri, who is at the time right now that this will probably be out and we're recording. She's prepping to face Seiya Kamitani at the Tokyo Dome. We'll, of course, cover that with the New Japan thing, Wrestle Kingdom next week. But you have her tag partner, Tomoka Inaba, who's out to prove herself, not just to Shuri, but to the world as well, and more specifically Starlight Kid. I'll kind of get into that here in a second. Opposite, of course, you have Starlight Kid, who I mentioned to you last week in the episode. I was like, watch Starlight Kid. She's really got it. So I do hope you were impressed in that aspect. From the looks of it, you were. But of course, my favorite Stardom girl, Azumi. She is by far my favorite on the roster. Has been for a minute now. Really loved her match with Seiya Kamitani this previous year, which was on YouTube for free if you ever get the time. Just some good old classic Neo Genesis versus God's Eye fun, our 2 little staples here. To kind of mention what you were talking about, really liked the touch of everyone shaking hands except for Tomoka Inaba, who was still feeling her way after her Wonder of Stardom title fight with Starlight Kid earlier in the year, which she lost. I thought that was a good little continuous storytelling there. But no, the match was a good watch. Like this would be the main event in those, in like their standard shows, where they do a lot of the multi-woman tag matches, this would no doubt be a main event and a barn burner. And it opened our show, technically it opened our show, which was awesome as well. They had a lot of fun. Our Neo Genesis girlies being Azumi and Starlight Kid. Had a lot of fun double team moves that really, really makes me want them to be in a tag team together and go for the Goddesses of Stardom tag titles, which we will see later on tonight in the event. Maybe even enter in the tournament and just, kind of kickstart that and win it next year. I think that would be sick because they work so well together. Of course, Azumi will be a standout in any match, whether it's my bias or not. You take your pick. But I was honestly mostly impressed with Tomoka Inaba here. She was in the ring with 3 household Stardom names, and she had a phenomenal showing. A lot of fun reversals and striking exchanges with Starlight Kid. It got to a point where it was kind of hard to predict a winner because on the one hand, this was Starlight Kid's return match after her injury from Konami. So you're kind of wondering, like, okay, they obviously got to, protect her. On the other hand, Shuri's going into Wrestle Kingdom, the biggest show of the year, fighting the biggest name in Stardom, Seiya Kamitani. You don't want her to lose either. So it was an interesting dynamic, but ultimately, they gave the win to Starlight Kid and Azumi. My final thought there, please give Azumi the world title in 2026. She needs it.
It was a really fun tag match. I knew I was in for a treat with this as well. I really enjoyed the tag match. I was as excited and as nervous for our next match being the Stardom Rumble, because if there was ever a time to just butcher these names, it will be this one. Again, common theme. I'm asking for forgiveness to our listeners and my co-host.
If anybody says a word about him, I will find you. Don't play now. This is his first time.
This time next year, watch me pronounce these with the accent perfect and everything. I will make sure that they are pronounced beautifully. Yes. I really enjoyed how 4 women start the match off. We have Miyu, Rian, Akira, and Azusa?
Perfect.
Yeah, sweet. They start the match. The match is both over the top rope and a 3-count pinfall elimination. I think that's super neat. I think that's really awesome. Azusa wants nothing to do with the other woman and leaves the ring. Miyu stands her ground against Rion and Akira's double team offense attempts and gets the dropkick on both women. Lady C enters, and there was finally someone I was familiar with other than Shuri and Starlight Kid, and she absolutely towers over her opponents. Lady C plants her boot into Azusa's face and soon after connects with a swing that even Claudio himself would be proud of on Miyu. We are wasting no time at all as the sixth entrance is Yuna Mizumori. Inside the ring, the first elimination happens as Akira eliminates Rion. Azusa tries to take advantage with a bicycle kick on Akira, but Akira doesn't allow it to happen and she fights back. But that won't be enough because Azusa eliminates Akira with a leg-assisted pinfall. That was one of my favorite pinfalls I've seen in my 20 years of watching wrestling. Yuna enters the ring with the championship belt still around her waist and delivers arm drags to numerous competitors. It was such a fun spot. Our seventh entrant is Kyoka, and she looks like she means business as she makes her way down to the ring. Yuna and Kyoka trade a segment of moves that Azusa gets involved with, only to be locked in a knee bar by Kyoka. Our eighth entrant is Momo Kogo, and she is a crowd favorite. I could tell as she was walking to the ring, she was going to be my favorite. She hits a double dropkick on two competitors and soon after three. A combination of 619s by Momo is impressive, but it does not grant the pinfall elimination of any competitor at all. Our ninth competitor is Koguma. Sweet, just one word. She enters the ring with a smile, but an even huger determination to win. Koguma and Miyu join in unison by dancing, but are quickly followed up with in-sync forearms and kick attempts on one another. This ultimately ends with Azusa planting her boot into the face of Miyu. During the entrance of Rana, we have an elimination in the ring, which I think becomes a theme from here on out, and she gets herself involved with Koguma with Rana. Koguma is eliminated by five others in a one-person multi-pin elimination. As entrant number 11 enters, Rana is rolled up and eliminated. For the first time in this match, there are multiple competitors going at it with both singles-based and team-based maneuvers, Lady C being the most impressive and impactful of the group. Our 12th entrant comes from CMLL, I believe, it being Olympia. She enters the ring and takes out her opponents with powerful shoulder tackles. Olympia uses a competitor like a battering ram and soon after sends her over the top rope for elimination. Competitor number 13, Hina, makes her way to the ring as Momo is eliminated, splattered on numerous women on the outside of the ring. Our 14th entrant, Misira, makes her way to the ring and hits a flurry of high-speed moves. Lady C gets annihilated with at least 20 drop kicks to the midsection. I mean, it is just drop kick after drop kick after drop kick, banger after banger. Entrant number 15 is my absolute favorite competitor of the match. It is Fuwa-Chan Death, and she strategically takes their time getting to the ring because when they do get to the ring, they score two eliminations and one pinfall, with one being the current high-speed champion. Various competitors try to stop Fuwa-Chan Death from taunting the crowd, but are unsuccessful. Entrant number 16, Yurahaim, hits a nasty dropkick to Fuwa-Chan Death, and Olympia and Death have a moment in the ring where the crowd gets very invested, mainly because they're firmly behind Death, but Olympia wins the moment by hitting a flying shotgun dropkick. Entrant number 17, I don't know if this was a surprise or she's a mainstay there, but B. Priestley, what a fun surprise for me to see. B takes it to every competitor that comes at her in the ring, including the letter after being Lady C. Death is eliminated by B. Massive cry from the crowd. Waka is entrant number 18 as she makes her way to the ring. A centipede train is forming on the inside of the ring for the fun spot of the night because Olympia somehow turns each woman over by turning one woman over with a connected Boston crowd submission. That is a first for me to see, just like that leg pinfall earlier tonight. Our 19th competitor is Saki, and our next elimination is Waka. Lady C gets a double elimination that includes Olympia, but I believe one person she also eliminated in that multi-elimination was a tag or a faction member. As I was typing that, trying to seeing what was going on, Lady C is eliminated. Rena is our 20th entrant, and as I typed in here, I cannot keep up. Rena smokes her feet into Hina's head, but only gets a 2 count. Seconds later, locks in an octopus stretch on Hina. Our 21st entrant, Yuzuki, has both copyrighted music and a battle royal to win. B delivers a few jaw-shattering big boots to various competitors and a teeth-shattering forearm to Rena. Rena locks in an octopus stretch on B and eliminates her over the top rope. Rena and Yuzuki go at it for a few moments, and this leads to 3 lone women eliminating Yuzuki with a triple baseball slide dropkick on the apron. Miyu, Rina, and Hina are the final 3 women in this match, and ultimately the winner of the match is Rina. Very fun battle royale, and I do apologize for how rough this match was to recap, as I did try my best, but nonetheless, it was a fun battle royale, Royal Rumble, whatever you want to call it. What did you think?
For one, I gotta say you did a really good job. You did fantastic. Yes, very good.
That was
very
it.
I'm very proud. But kind of how I was saying when with the street fight earlier in the show, very hard to mess up a Rumble and a battle royale, whatever you want to call it. That being said, it was still a real good time. Walker Stewart on commentary. There was one thing where I was like, that's so rude that Walker Stewart commented on Lady C's size. And I was like, wow, that's really fucking rude. Why would you say that?
Crazy.
And then she gets in the ring and she's like 6 feet tall than everybody there. And I was like, oh, okay. So that got a good laugh out of me. Of course, really nice to see Yuna Mizumori in the match wearing the new high speed title she won a few days ago. With the belt in the ring. It was just funny. Really like that. Of course, you mentioned it. Love seeing Momokogo, her amazing gear with the umbrella and the robe. It's just so much fun. Another really fun spot with all the girls kind of blinding Shuri and forcing some God's Eye smiles, some fun out of the group. They're all serious. Didn't want their leader to see. I thought that was a good touch. One thing you mentioned that I just thought was really funny. I did not expect you to be such a big fan of Fuwa-Chan Death. I thought that was pretty cool. That you were a fan of her.
Absolutely hilarious. Proud favorite.
Yeah, really that made me smile. Of course, as you mentioned though, our winner of the match is Rina of Hate. So she will get a title shot of her choosing. They ended up doing it literally like not doing the match, but they gave way as to who she's challenging in a few matches from now, which I'm sure we'll get there later. But I'm in agreement with you. Again, it's so hard to mess up a Rumble. It really is. Good showing overall.
Great showing. And in this next match, this was a fucking hard hitting offense. You're giving me the eyes like, should I read it? I'm going to try it. So we have Maika, Megan Bayne, Xena, and Hanoko fighting Suzu Suzuki, Ozilla, Rina Yamashita, and Itsuki Akoi.
Good work.
Boom! So, all right, my friends, let's break down this match, shall we? Xena and Itsuki start the match off, and from the bell, the crowd is really excited for the match. The two trade headlocks and leg headlocks as their test of strength competition. Itsuki's team gets involved early on and ragdolls Xena around the ring with various high-impact tosses and moves. To pay back the favor, Xena's team gets involved to do the same to Itsuki. Hanuko plants Itsuki to the canvas with a big boot and a 2-count pinfall. Itsuki plants Hanuko seconds later with a rope rebound DDT in the center of the ring. Rina makes her way into the ring and her presence known against Hanoko by planting her head into the canvas. Hanoko and Maika try to get the early win for their team to no success. This leads to Megan Bayne being tagged in and hitting a single leg big boot to the face of Rina. Rina is able to stay in the match by kicking out at 2. Bayne shows infinite amounts of disrespect by continuously shoving her foot into Rina's face and applying pressure while doing so. The crowd is desperately waiting for Bozilla to enter the ring. Bayne attempts to rock Rina with a forearm, but Rina does not go down and instead lifts Bayne up only to slam her right back down. Bozilla and Bayne finally face off, and the crowd is on this like it's Andre and Hogan from WrestleMania. They are on the edge of their seats, seeing who will get the best of each other. Bayne hits an impressive overhead suplex on Bozilla that had me audibly say, holy shit. Bozilla answers with a powerbomb that should have sent Bayne through the canvas, not once, but twice. Moments later, Bozilla and Bayne battle it out on the top rope, and it ends with Bozilla throwing Bayne halfway across the ring. These two are really showing all out, and this is currently my match of the night just based off these two alone. The two women ultimately end up taking each other out with a double clothesline, and the crowd is going wild. They are doing more than just clapping. They are making their presence known. After the impressive showing of Bozilla and Bayne, Maika and Suzu go toe-to-toe, or should I say forearm to forearm, and just like Bozilla and Bane, neither woman want to admit defeat against each other. A tequila shot from Suzu to Maika doesn't get the 3 count, but it does get the crowd's admiration. Bozilla makes her presence known once again as she and her teammates gang up on Maika. Seconds later, Suzu looks to make her way to the top rope. Bane intercepts, and Bane and Maika connect with an electric chair on Suzu. Bozilla and Bane are not done with each other as they enter the ring once again, and by this time, Bozilla and Bane get the best by connecting with the suplex, and then the match ends on a flat note with a double countout no contest as both teams prevented each other from getting in the ring various times. This does not prevent the two teams from fighting because they continue to brawl after the match. Other than the flat finish, I thought it was a pretty enjoyable match. What did you think?
Yes, so admittedly, when the match, was on the card announced, I didn't have much hype for it, but it did not take away from the stellar talent that we have in here, not one bit. Of course, our two factions here, this is Mi Vida Loca against Empress Nexus Venus. It's quality. When I first watched it, though, so I did not write this in. I wasn't into it. It was like my least favorite match of the card. Not that it was bad. I was just, wasn't the one I was the most into. And then I went on, online, whatever, because since I purchased the pay-per-view, I can at least watch it, multiple times, whatever. And I think I was working too when mid-match I was trying to watch and whatever. So I had just seen people they were like, this shit was fire. You mentioned it yourself. Now you were like, this was fire. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it to myself. I'm going to rewatch it. And it ended up being pretty good. So the thoughts I wrote out were just kind of befores. Overall now, I did enjoy it a lot more. Is it still maybe my least favorite match on the card? Maybe. Maybe the tag title match, probably now, but no. Anyways, yeah. Of course, our talent in the match. We've gotten familiar with Bozilla a little bit, but especially Megan Bane, of course, over in AEW, who deserves all the credit in the world for her work ethics, always traveling around from America to Japan. Xena has been extremely impressive this year. The big one, though, of course, Maika. So happy she's back. Because anything she does, she just always adds to it. But yeah, overall, again, it was a good match. The next two, though. Oh shit! The next two. This was like my Super Bowl. These two matches coming up. Along with the Megan Bane, I'm not Megan Bane, excuse me. The Statlander and Jamie Hayter match. My matches of the week. And maybe some matches of the year, honestly. I will get there for sure, were these. But, of course, the fifth match here, the first one I'm talking about is Fuwa-Chan versus Suzuki. Matt, may you take us away.
I really wish I was familiar with the storyline and the controversy leading up to it, because I'm just viewing this match as a regular match due to my lack of Stardom knowledge, I should say. But I'm sure as it goes down, I'm going to be more familiar with it. I can definitely understand why. But even talking about it again, I do not, because the crowd loves both of them equally. Just like all the previous matches before it, the test of strength to begin the match starts off hot. Hazuki does not want to give any momentum to Fuwa-Chan, and you can tell this just from her body language alone. Fuwa-Chan tries for multiple drop kicks to no success. All it takes is one from Hazuki to rock Fuwa-Chan's world. The first pinfall of the match results in a 2 to absolutely no surprise, because Hazuki is just having fun with Fuwa-Chan. After a long time searching for a way to take Hazuki off her feet, Fuwa-Chan is successful and slams Hazuki to the canvas, but with veteran instinct, Hazuki does not take too lightly to this and quickly turns the match back into her control. Back and forth arm strikes prove to be too much for Fuwa-Chan as she is grounded, and then a cocky miscalculation by Hazuki does give Fuwa-Chan the opportunity to lock in an octopus stretch, and Fuwa-Chan digs her elbow into Hazuki's midsection for extra pain. Seconds later, Fuwa-Chan kicks Hazuki square in the face to the outside of the ring, and in only her third match, Fuwa-Chan soars into the sky and connects with a diving crossbody on Hazuki and others who also caught her. A stalling vertical suplex by Fuwa-Chan only gets the 2 count, and when they get into the same ring, Hazuki finds the opportunity to shift the momentum with a victory roll double stop combo, and seconds later, a nasty missile dropkick from the middle turnbuckle. At this point in the match, you can tell each woman has something different to prove, and I would argue that Fuwa-Chan needs this victory more than Hazuki. Moments later, the two battle on the top rope for Fuwa-Chan to connect with a second stalling vertical suplex, this time from about 10 feet higher. A picture-perfect shining wizard across the jaw of Hazuki only grants 3 2-count pinfalls. That's a tongue twister. Fuwa-Chan is really letting the frustration get to her at this point, and she's starting to lose grip of the momentum that she has. Hazuki finds the opportunity to strike with a bicycle chip to put Fuwa-Chan on the canvas, and she follows up with a flying senton to give Fuwa-Chan a loss in her re-debut match. This is the match of the night for me so far. This was so much fun. How about you?
Yes. Okay. All right. So for me, this was the match on the card that I was the most curious about. I'm sure for probably 95% of people who watch Stardom, probably the same sentiment. Given, Fuwa-Chan, obviously, the whole story there, and she had been away for, I believe, a year and a half, I think. Definitely over a year for sure. But yeah, I was curious to see. And it delivered so bad. Like, dude, it was so good. I was like laughing watching moves, not because they were funny, but because I was like, holy shit,
excitement.
Yes. Like I was invested. To kind of explain Fuwa-Chan, and I mean this in no disrespect to her, because she's amazing and significantly better than him, in my opinion. But again, for American audiences, kind of think like a Logan Paul in WWE in the celebrity aspect way, and sort of controversy, but not anywhere as bad on Fuwa's part. Personally, like she's a good-hearted person. I fully believe that, but again, just kind of the sentiment of like what she brings to Stardom in terms of like star power, because she's very famous in Japan. Sort of similar in that aspect. She's better than Logan Paul in every way, though. We'll tell you that right now. And this match is why. But opposite of her, I gotta give a shout out, Miss Hazuki. So she wrestled alongside Fuwa-Chan in both of her tag matches in her career, her only matches in her career up to this point. The commentary makes a good point of it. She was with her throughout all of her controversy and her, her exile, whatever. Perfect opponent to choose here. She filled that role of the veteran perfectly, as well as, having that connection with Fuwa as is. And the match itself, dude, just so much fun out of the gate. Right out of the gate, just the story is just Fuwa-Chan proving herself. Hazuki just blitzes her with this nasty ass drop kick and just good looking moves all around. Hazuki's beast as hell. I love her to death. I highly recommend searching out for this match. Seriously, if you owe it to yourself, find this match and watch it. It was great. Fuwa-Chan's Shining Wizard, genuinely the best Shining Wizard I've ever seen. Like, dude, by that point in the match, when she hit that move, I stood up and I was like, oh my God, I was clapping. It was great. I loved it so bad. She nearly had the match won with it too. Hazuki sold it just perfectly. But it was actually Hazuki who ends up taking the win, as you had said. For me, it's hard to imagine. I genuinely do not see a world where Stardom won't push Fuwa-Chan to the moon. As long as she maintains this pace, is willing to learn. They've kind of said with how they're gonna go about approaching her is they acknowledge her star power, but also kind of want to be fair, treat her as a rookie, technically speaking. So it'll be curious to kind of see how they go about handling that. I trust them though. I really don't see them fumbling this, unless it's self-inflicted wounds, to say. She didn't look rusty. I mean, that they again made a point that she has been training a lot, throughout the year, that she was away. She looked phenomenal. Hazuki, on the other hand, again, what can I say? Just amazing wrestler, amazing person. I hope 2026 is a fantastic year for her. And honestly, I hope that they give her a really nice reward for doing this. I mean, I'm sure obviously, she agreed and wanted to do it, but give her a title run, give her some, she definitely deserves it. It is a must watch for the show. However, before we get into the next match here, this is what I was talking about when I said that I messed up another one. So, our sixth match here is Natsupoi versus Sarray. Depending on if you watched NXT, it's her as Sarray. If you watch now, Sari, however you want to say that is fine. But Natsupoi specifically, when I typed the name, I made an error. So it's spelt Nutsupoi. So it's on the document fine now, and I corrected everything in there. But I spelt it Natuspoi. So that makes no sense to pronounce. But just for the record, it's Natsupoi. I'll take blame for that one. I set you up to fail there. I went ahead and changed everything. We're good there. But please let me know what you think about this match.
This match was sick. This match was fucking awesome. Natsupoi and Suri, they have such a big fight feeling to their match. And it could be told from the video package alone. Instead of a test of strength to begin the match, it's hard hitting out the gate. Suri throws Natsupoi from the top rope to the ring apron. Suri invites Natsupoi into the ring for the collar and elbow lockup. Neither woman can find victory in it. A disgusting hair whip across the ring from Suri to Natsupoi only frustrates Natsupoi more, and she gets into the face of her opponent. This does not bug Suri, though, because she connects with a second hair whip across the ring and a kick just for good measure. Natsupoi connects with a victory roll double stop combination of her own, only to find herself in a single leg Boston Crab from Suri, which is a rope break that eventually breaks it. Mere seconds later, Suri locks in a second leg submission and isn't looking for the victory here, but instead wants to punish Natsupoi and wear her body down. Moments later, Suri locks in a devastating Muto lock on Natsupoi, and this only shows the damage of the match on the body of both competitors. Suri is showing a very vicious and calculated side in this contest. She really wants to prove why she's the best out of these two, but the two find themselves fighting on the top rope, with Suri winning the top rope encounter, but cannot connect with her double stomp, and instead she's met with both of Natsupoi's feet in the chest. The two exchange in full mounted elbow strikes, with Natsupoi getting the better of the exchange. They travel back up to the top rope, where Suri comes down with a superplex dropkick combo, but only gets the 2 count pinfall. Echoing, and I mean echoing, forearm strikes have the crowd fully invested as both women give it the raw with the strikes and end this encounter with open palm slaps that rock each other's world. Moments later, Natsupoi comes crashing down from the top rope onto Suri on the outside of the ring with a diving crossbody. Both competitors are beginning to search deep in their bags and continue the matchup. Suri makes Natsupoi work for the armbar that she's attempting to lock in, and when she does lock it in, Suri is saved by the bottom rope by mere inches. And I mean, that bottom rope, if it was inches away, it would have been a tap out, no questions asked. A hard-hitting German suplex from Suri to Natsupoi allows both competitors to take quick breathers in the match, and when they go back at it, they are knocking the wind out of one another. 2 flying double stomps from Suri to Natsupoi are not enough to end the match, but are enough for Natsupoi to get her second win. She hits Suri with everything except the kitchen sink, but I'm sure if there was a kitchen sink at ringside, it would be used. And what I personally thought was the end of the match, Suri hits a trifecta of disrespectful Uranagis, but Natsupoi's fighting spirit gets her out of every pinfall. But in the 4th disrespectful Uranagi that Suri, it grants her the victory. And holy shit, if Fuwa-Chan was the match of the night, this match ties it for match of the night. What did you think?
Listen, Section 103 podcast, our lovely, lovely viewers, Matt, and I'll extend it further, Prince Aqua viewers and FTI Studios viewers, let me tell you, I think this is my match of the year. I'm not even playing.
It's so
I think this genuinely might be my match of 2025. I was telling you guys, I was levitating for like Statlander and Hater. I was on the roof. Like I couldn't believe I saw this match. I loved it to death. I was, of course, again, I mentioned previously, I was most curious to see the Fuwa-Chan match, but this match was the one I was the most excited for, just because of, who is in the match. And it delivered. It was just straight action and ass beatings all throughout. Literally the first minute of the match, Saray hits this nasty ass drop to Natsupoi on the apron. All you need to know. And then she just shoots right up, stares her down, and is like, let's go and do this. That's all you need to know, that this is a banger. The story is pretty much just as simple as 2 best friends fighting each other to prove themselves. Saray has been a killer the last few months, more specifically ever since becoming a freelancer. I believe this was her 2nd or 3rd match of 4 for that weekend, in a row. And all of the matches were great. I've seen all of them. Phenomenal stuff. But yeah, she's worked a hectic schedule and just deserves nothing short of praise in the world. Just amazing stuff. On the other hand, I love Natsupoi so much. She has a great move set, a great aesthetic. They clash wonderfully. Sari getting bruises everywhere and just still hitting these insane looking moves. It was just badass. Again, the Uranagis and Natsupoi just keep coming back. Awesome. But really the first move really of the match with the apron, that was when I was like, dude, oh my God. Yeah, no, this is the match of the night. The match you need to seek out, really. I know I just said that for the Fuwa-Chan, but give yourself a double feature. Watch the whole show. Watch the whole show. Watch the whole show, actually. Yes, no, I agree. I'll let y'all use my login. It was so good. And like here I say it might be one of my favorite matches of the year. Of course it was. I think I'm good to give it the title of my match of the year. 100%.
We have set the match of the
year. Official for the Peyton for Peyton's list right here. And like maybe at the end, just for like fun, maybe I'll go over like other matches that I thought were really good throughout the year. That's number one, in my opinion. But believe it or not, that doesn't end our show. We still have 3 matches left to go. So if you may hit us off here, we have Natsuko Tora and Ruaka, which is BMI 2000. That team, they're the champions, the Goddesses of Stardom tag champions, against Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurara. Sakurara, if you want to shorten that, that's their tag name. Let me know what you were thinking.
This match is for the Goddesses of Stardom title, and I ain't gonna lie to you, out the gate, maybe it's my lack of stardom and maybe it's my lack of knowing these characters, but all 4 entered so quickly and they had no emotion, so it didn't really get me excited for the match. But proving as Statlander and Hater did as well, I was very excited after the match started to go on. So Aya and Natsuko start the match off, and Aya delivers a handful of forearms to Natsuko's chest. Natsuko eats all of the forearms with no problem and strikes back with a devastating shoulder tackle. Ruaka and Natsuko try for a double body splash to no success. And then Aya and Sayaka connect with double drop kicks, but go to the well one too many times because their second attempt, BMI 2000, move out of the way and connect with their own tag team maneuver. This match bleeds to the outside, and Sakura find themselves, goodness gracious, being thrown into the ringside chairs on opposite sides of the ring, not once, but twice. Seconds later, Natsuko and Ruaka both connect with a corner body splash, but cannot score the victory just yet. Later in the match, the momentum shifts back as Sayaka is able to handle both members of BMI 2000 on her own and gets a 2-count pinfall on Natsuko after a springboard forearm. Taking a page out of What Not to Do to an opponent that's bigger than you book, Sayaka hops onto the back of Natsuko, and somehow this ends up in her favor as she's able to take Natsuko off her feet seconds later with a dropkick. Then after that, Natsuko sends Sayaka over her shoulders from the top turnbuckle to the canvas, adds a devastating shoulder tackle for extra damage, but the fighting spirit of Sayaka is contagious. And then Natsuko has an answer for absolutely everything. Ruaka becomes the legal competitor after a tag and hits a flurry of effective maneuvers that end with a 2-count pinfall. A bit later in the match, BMI 2000 finally connect with their double body splash, but only for the 2-count. A disrespectful crossface to Aya by Ruaka almost spells the end, but Sayaka makes sure that Aya's feet connect with the bottom rope for the rope break, and she was actually pushing that bottom rope so Aya's feet could go to it. The match eventually spills to the outside of the ring once more, where BMI 2000 accidentally come into contact with one another as Aya ducks out of the way, and coming from the sky is Sayaka with a double cross body, but it's 2 for the price of 1 as Aya hits a double cross body for good measure, takes a swig of water to celebrate because you got to stay hydrated. Aya locks in a head scissors submission on Ruaka that looks to spell the end of the BMI 2000's tag title reign, but the bottom rope makes sure that it's not the case. So many, and I mean so many, near falls at the end of the match from BMI 2000, connecting with a pair of flying sentons, synchronized body splashes, and a neck-shattering German suplex from Ruaka to Aya. There were so many close calls. Eventually, the match ends with a second and third German suplex, courtesy of Ruaka to Aya, and then BMI 2000 are still your champions. Oh my goodness, what a tag team title defense. Everybody in the crowd was expecting new tag champs, but that did not happen. They are continuing to be your champion, BMI 2000. What did you think?
Yes. So for me, man, it definitely, if there's one thing to take away from this, it shows how invested I was in the show. But I was disappointed by the finish in that Aya and Sayaka did not win. I wanted them to win so bad. They won my heart over with the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League for sure. Of course, they're your new blood tag champs. So in theory, maybe it didn't make much sense for them to win. But yeah, I really wanted them to pull it off just for a nice feel good moment. But of course, Hate won their second of 4 matches tonight. Big day for that stable for sure. The match started off kind of slow, as you said, and then the crowd wasn't really super into it as well, but it picked up definitely in the second half and had good momentum. I think definitely my issue was just the highs that I came off of with the last 2 matches. But yeah, no, I don't think it's the last we'll see of Sakurara. They're just starting out, and their times to be champion will come very soon. Maybe though, I will say, maybe hold off on it just a little bit. And honestly, I'm so down for that Azumi and Starlight Kid tag team. If they decide to bite on that, maybe do that and then kind of give it to Sakurara as like from one feel good to another feel good. That'd be cool. I'm just saying, I don't book the show, but just watch it. But overall, again, good show in there.
This 8th match is one of your 2 co-main events, as we have Konami taking on Saya Lida for the Wonder of Stardom title. Just like previous matches on this card, it's another big fight feel. I do think that the intermission helped create the atmosphere too, unintentionally, because after an incredible first half of the show, coming back to a huge championship match definitely has the crowd energized and ready for what's going to be a barn burner. Like the previous matches before it again, Saya and Konami's test of strength has a lot more aggressiveness in it. Ultimately, with Saya winning the encounter with a ring-shaking shoulder tackle, Konami connects with a boot to Saya's midsection. That has Saya ripple her body against the bottom rope and eventually finds herself on the outside of the ring. Konami showing full disrespect to Saya by tossing her into the chairs at ringside, not once, but twice, all while the countdown was happening. Saya's left arm becomes the target for Konami for the remainder of the match as she works that arm with various submissions and strikes. You can see the pain bleed through Saya's arm while the crowd let Konami know if they think of her in unison. Saya tries for a forearm with her damaged arm, but it hurts her more than it hurts her opponent, being Konami. This does not stop her from trying, though. Saya connects with a desperation suplex, which shifts the momentum into her favor, but now her strikes to Konami are with her good arm, and there are at least 40, and I actually do mean, I think she hit 40 chest points. She just kept going. Konami does not let the chops affect her. She digs her thumbs into Saya's eyes for an eruption of boos from the crowd. A bit later in the match, Saya tries to send Konami to the outside of the ring with a clothesline, but Konami catches Saya's arm with her leg for a disgusting armbar. That was a beautifully executed catch too. When she caught the arm for that armbar, I said, fuck me. This is a walk in the park for Konami. Konami comes down from the top rope and lands directly on Saya's bad arm and follows up with a fisherman suplex. Thankfully, though, the count is only a 2, but moments later, Saya finds herself on the receiving end of various strikes to the chest and the face, but this also exhausts Konami to not only be able to not capitalize, but also go into her bag more. The 2 exchange with strikes back and forth, and the more they continue, the more vicious they sound. Konami catches Saya with a beautifully countered clothesline into an armbar. If I had a moment to capture for this match, it would be that beautifully executed countered clothesline into an armbar. A nicely executed German suplex does not give Konami the win, but gives her the idea to climb to the top rope and connect with a flying kick to Saya's skull. Absolutely brutal. Seconds later, Saya hits a limit breaker out of nowhere and tries to follow up by climbing to the top rope, but the champion is too smart and stops this by throwing Saya halfway across the ring. This would lead to both competitors fighting on the top rope and coming crashing down with an executed slam to the center of the canvas, courtesy of Saya. A little bit later in the match, Saya has Konami's arm gripped tightly around her neck as she's fading away from a brutally executed, not beautifully, brutally executed sleeper hold, but she gets her bottom foot on the rope. This is not enough, though, because Konami follows up with a German suplex and another armbar submission hold directly in the middle of the ring. Saya is able to escape it and attempt a pinfall. Ending the match, however, Konami's foot meets Saya's nose, and eventually a really impressive-looking arm and leg submission hold is too much for Saya to escape. Konami retains the title after a hard-hitting contest. In the post-match, Saya offers her hand as a sign of respect, but just like many of the moves Saya hit in the match, Full disrespect is given in return from Konami, and Saya is beat down. Hard-hitting co-main event. This match was fucking long, but it deserved every minute that it had going. I loved it. What did you think?
Yes, I thought it was. I agree with you. It was also a very good match. Really good showing from Saida for sure. Who continues to be a future hitter in the promotion. I give it maybe max 3 years, and she'll be a world champion for sure. Admittedly, again, I was still a little buzzed from the Natsupoi and Saray match, and Fuwa-Chan and whatnot. But doesn't take away from what we saw, and it was really great. I'm really happy for Konami as well. She had a really good defense here too. My thinking was always kind of she was just like a little transitional champion. But no, they're giving her hopefully pretty good run. She deserves it. She's always been super underrated in my eyes. And I'm just happy that they let him go out. Again, Seiya is a beast. No doubt about it. She's coming for the now spot there. And it was a really good co-main event. What was most interesting though was what came after the match. As we mentioned earlier, the Stardom Rumble happened. Rina won that, which is of course member of Hate as well as Konami. So she is challenging Konami for a Wonder of Stardom title match. And I really hope that Rina wins. I think that'd be really cool because she's kind of like, everybody in Hate has gold except for me. I'm kind of pissed off about that. She's the little sister to everybody, the Pink Devil, they call her. Hope she wins. But also, of course, this makes it 3-0 for Hate on the night. Really good match leading into our main event.
And our main event is brutal. Our main event is disgusting, and our main event proves why it's main eventing. We have Saya Kamitani versus Sayori Anu for the World of Stardom title. It is main event time, and I know you complimented one of the entrances. I didn't even know that I was complimenting the other one because there was a beautiful entrance from the defending champion, Saya Kamitani. Just wow. That is how you make your entrance as a champion. Inside the ring, during both like the announcements of the match and kind of like the opening bell, Anu and Kamitani stare into each other's souls because each competitor is ready to give it everything they have to leave champion. The match begins with a silent stare down, as just mentioned, but the crowd is just as energetic, bringing the energy to this match. Your classic show of strength to begin the match. Nope. These two are running around the canvas trying different maneuvers, but every move is met with a reversal or a duck. Eventually, the champion almost runs into the boot of Inouye, but her champion's instinct is too smart. As we think this match is going to the outside, it ends with Kamitani taunting Anu not once, but twice. On the second, Kamitani sets up a chair and trips Inouye's face into it, followed up with a dropkick. This finally gives Kamitani the momentum in the contest. Vicious, and I mean vicious, and disrespectful boots from Kamitani led into a cloverleaf double arm block submission that I've never seen before. I will be going to look for it in 2K because it is devastating. It takes a bit of time for Inouye to secure the rope break, and we finally spill to the outside of the ring as Inouye spills into the ringside chairs. Kamitani introduces a chain into the match, wraps it around her opponent's neck, and brings her through the crowd and into the rafters. Her opponent was on that leash there, just getting absolutely dragged around and decimated. And if you think it couldn't get any more violent, Kamitani sent her opponent down the stairs and shows zero remorse. Absolutely disgusting behavior by our defending champion. But in out of nowhere fashion, Inouye hits a devastating, and I mean an absolutely devastating, German suplex to gain the momentum. The chain is now used against Kamitani as it is tied around her neck and the turnbuckles for an absolutely deadly submission. Literally, she was trying to decapitate her with the chain and the turnbuckle. Shout out to the sickos in the crowd for cheering this on because I was kind of watching with one eye closed. After a diving crossbody by Inouye, Kamitani beats the ref's ring out count but cannot steer out of the way of a missile dropkick by her opponent, which is also included with a submission. Inouye is also on another level trying to capture the championship. A wreckage is caused at ringside as Kamitani soars from the top rope and onto the crowd that includes Inouye. You can really tell, as I probably mentioned earlier, that both competitors want this title, but they're also feeling the exhaustion and pain that this match has caused so far. Seconds later, a trifecta of perfectly executed German suplexes only grants Inoue a 2 count. The two battle on the top rope only for Inoue to connect with a picture-perfect hurricanrana from the sky. Shout out my Google Doc for correcting my spelling on that because I could not spell it to save my life. A bit later in the match, the two trade slaps across the face as they get to their feet, and each slap is welcomed by the recipient. This is brutal. Inoue puts her hands behind her back and just allows Kamitani to absolutely feed the slaps. A last resort star crusher by Kamitani allows both competitors to take a rest in the middle of the ring. And at this point, the crowd is absolutely torn, as am I, who will be leaving champion. Back to back to back 2.99 pinfall attempts cannot put away the champion. And at this point, her opponent is wondering what will it do to take. She is being desperate with strikes, just questioning what will. The theme of the night continues to be disrespect as Kamitani holds onto Inoue's hands as she boots her numerous times in the nose and enjoys every single kick that she delivers. Inoue, in zombie-like fashion, finds herself getting up to her feet, only to be put back down to the canvas with the final kick to the nose. Inoue finally hits a strike of her own to Kamitani and a beautiful German suplex. This series of moves leads into both women finding their second win and exchanging fast-paced maneuvers reminiscent of the beginning of the match, ending the match and Inoue's championship dream aspirations. Kamitani connects with two star crushers to continue her reign as champion. An absolutely incredible match. After the match, however, neither competitor is able to get to their feet, but this will not stop them from delivering final remarks towards one another. And then shout out to the commentator for translating the comments, as I am excited for who confronted the champion at the end of the match. What were your thoughts on our Stardom main event?
Yes. So for me, my approach was how they were going to handle the presentation of Sayori Ano. The problem is it's Seiya Kamitani. Her reign has been historic. This was when the show occurred. This was exactly a year on the day from the previous year's Stardom Dream Queendom to now. 1 full year as World Championship. She is the biggest draw in Stardom. She's the one that moves all the tickets. And of course, I've mentioned it a couple times on the show. She's heading into Wrestle Kingdom as not just the World of Stardom champion, but the New Japan Strong Women's champion, who's fighting Shuri, of course, on that show. So her losing tonight was damn near at a 0%. So then that question becomes with Sayori is how do you make her come off as not just like a name per se that was just there to just throw to her to beat. Like, how do you make her feel important? How do you make this feel like she actually has a shot at winning? And I thought that she nailed it literally as soon as the entrance hit. That's all it took was just the entrance. She had this gorgeous almost, I took it like, I looked at it, saw kind of like Assassin's Creed like robe. If you've ever played any of those games, I highly doubt that was the inspiration, but you could feel that it was a big fight feel. Like, again, I kind of what you were saying. I like that we each talked about separate entrances, but Seiya Kamitani's entrance was beautiful as well. We're just kind of used to that though. All her entrances are fantastic. But the bell rings, and Sayori Ano showed more importantly than anything why she was in the main event spot. Of course, they mention the story of Tam Nanako and the hanging scene with her. That was used with the chains, kind of a little play on that. Ultimately, of course, with Sayori getting the upper hand in defending her little cosmic angel, former leader who is now retired. But the match was awesome. The rest is just it's pure action accompanied with bloody noses for both. Seiya hitting multiple star crushers on Sayori definitely helped her make feel legitimate here. And while like I again didn't really notice a moment where Sayori was gonna win per se, because I always imagined Seiya was gonna win and continue that reign. I appreciated it being an even bout and giving her those moments of like, oh shit, like she might actually do this. But ultimately, of course, as you mentioned, one too many Star Crushers, which is an amazing finisher, of course. Added up for Sayori, and Seiya Kamitani retains the title in a pretty fun contest, fun main event. And of course, you mentioned it, the main event, like after, with all the promos and whatnot, Starlight Kid is up next. I'm thrilled.
I'm happy.
Yes. We will for sure be there. When that will happen, I'm not 100% sure. They're obviously going to have their New Year's show, just like all the other promotions. Overall, my thoughts on Stardom Dream Queendom 2025, so much fun. Genuinely, I think this was my favorite show of the year, undoubtedly, at least for me. It was such a good watch. I'm so glad I purchased it. It made $30 feel like a penny. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I got so much value out of this show. Obviously, I mean, I think we all know what my favorites were. The highs of the Natsupoi and Suri, and then Fuwa-Chan and Hazuki were immaculate. Every match, literally at the worst, was solid. And that says so much about the quality of the show. Again, if you are able to seek it out, I'm not too sure how you would now. Because again, I'll have to research what Stardom World is, about with my whole monologue at the beginning. We'll figure that out eventually. My least favorite match, maybe we'll say, originally it was the 8-woman tag. Now I might, I don't know. The thing is, like, I liked every single one. If I absolutely had to pick one, maybe either like the Stardom Rumble or the tag title match, or I guess maybe you can even still say that. But no, genuinely, I did not. I think I agree with you. It was so hard. If I have to give a rating, initially I wrote a 4.5 out of 5 or like an 8.5 out of 10. I think for the sake of it, we'll keep it there, but I could definitely bump that to a 5, undoubtedly. I thought it was great again, and it had a 5-star match for me. Natsupoi Sore, again, match of my year. But of course, I have to know, again, this was your first Stardom show in full. And now after we reviewed one of my favorite matches last week, and then now obviously this show, give me your thoughts as a first timer. What did you think?
I thought the show, to get it out of the way, was a 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed the show from opening bell to the last bell. Admittedly, there was a few moments in the show, as I texted you, kind of like a lot of the competitors have very similar move sets. And they share a lot of similar moves. And I don't mean like the forearm strikes and like the slabs, because I do understand like that's a tradition. That's the kind of like Japanese wrestling style and the Joshi wrestling style. But like, there wasn't a whole lot of variety in their moveset, which kind of took me out of it sometimes. But when there was variety, it usually came from the top rope, which is always fun to see. I will say that I do enjoy the ringside crew kind of being like a camp for each competitor to kind of like boost them up. I really enjoy that presentation. Match of the night would be Fuwa-Chan and Hazuki, most definitely. Least favorite match, and I don't want to sound like that guy, but it's yours and not mine. Mine and your show, so we don't really listen to anybody else's rules. There's not a least favorite match of the night. They were all great. If I absolutely had to like say I didn't want to watch a match again, maybe it's the BMI 2000 match. But I would even say that was really fun. There was a lot of fun hope spots, a lot of tag team miscalculations, just a lot of like, holy shit, we're gonna crown new champions. But watching the video packages when I would hear like how long somebody would have the title for, because I do believe BMI 2000's had it since last July. So I have like my American wrestling brain going, they haven't had it for that long yet. So there was a few moments there, but absolutely a 5 out of 5 match. And that would put a bow on our recap of World's End, and would put a recap on our coverage of Stardom Dream Queendom 2025. As we head into 2026, January is Royal Rumble season. And if I can get this right, and I can predict this right, Peyton's learning in real time. Our episode next week will be covering Royal Rumble 2009.
Let's do it.
That's what we're going to be watching. We're going to go from a really good Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Admittedly, it follows Survivor Series Armageddon Royal Rumble for Jeff Hardy's timeline, but I'm choosing it because we will be joined by a special guest who is currently listening to this podcast right now. So Ben, we will see you soon to record this.
Yes, Big Ben, let's do it. Let's do it.
Awesome. Section 103 listeners, thank you so much for listening. I am Matt, joined as always by my incredible co-host Peyton, and we will catch you for when I have to write a match recap about a 30-man Royal Rumble. I'll catch you soon.
I'll see you then.